Kikikyaw pa dyan.
Bilib na bilib ako kay Manong Fishball. Akalain mong yung maliit niyang kariton, napalaki niya ng ganun? Ang nagagawa nga naman ng pangarap ng isang magulang.
Anong grade na ba yung anak nyo?
Tagal nang tapos sa mga bata. Ako naman ngayon.
Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Pero sa mga araw na yun, many years ago, higit pa sa fishballs ang binigay niya sa akin. He taught me na walang di natutupad na pangarap sa taong handang magsumikap.
Dami niya na.
Panghapunan.
Pantoga.
Atin ang pangarap. Atin ang pagsisikap. Atin ang mundo. Globe. Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Everyday siya kung dumating. Kaya parang institusyon na siya dito sa area namin. Minsan, sobrang late na. Andun pa rin si Manong Fishball.
Ginagabi kayo, Manong.
Enrollment eh.
After some time, yung kariton ni Manong Fishball nadagdagan ng may bike.
Hanggang kabilang kalye, nagtitinda na rin kayo, Manong?
Pang notebook.
Sunod na taon, pati menu nadagdagan.
Nax, may squid balls na.
Mahal kasi ang lapis. Kikikyaw pa dyan.
Bilib na bilib ako kay Manong Fishball. Akalain mong yung maliit niyang kariton, napalaki niya ng ganun? Ang nagagawa nga naman ng pangarap ng isang magulang.
Anong grade na ba yung anak nyo?
Tagal nang tapos sa mga bata. Ako naman ngayon.
Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Pero sa mga araw na yun,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third season of the National Campus Open featuring League of Legends. The top collegiate League of Legends teams in the Philippines are all here competing for a prize pool of over 150,000 pesos, the right to call themselves the best in the country, and of course, scholarships. I'm Hiron, with me is Dash, and we'll be your shoutcasters for today's quarterfinals best of 3 matches.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting because we have two teams coming in from Adamson University Game, and also Asian Baby Boys. And another one on the other side is Veritas Arcos from De La Salle University. And Ipsilos from Polytechnic University of the Philippines today for our quarterfinals. These teams, some of them came in from the open qualifiers, some of them came for the alliance qualifiers, and the Asian Baby Boys was the last year's
Very
champion
exciting.
for the Metro. And man, this is gonna be exciting because Asian Baby Boys just went there and won the whole thing on the Metro, and they showed themselves to be the kings of the Metro, and now they're battling it out with Adu Game on the first game.
Yeah, there's a lot of different storylines going on here, of course, that
Mhm.
we will see on the semifinals, and we're all setting it up here in the quarters. Of
Yeah.
course, these two teams, PUP Ipsilos and Adams University game, they want to prove themselves on the Rift here in NCO. They went through all of those best of one qualifiers, and they're here right now to show everyone, okay, we're here on the map. Pay attention to us. And of course, we've got DLS. You've got a player cam here for Adamson. Of course,
Hey.
I have the player cam here for Asian Baby Boys as well. So two DLSU teams in the quarterfinals right now, and there's a lot to talk about it. I don't think Asian Baby Boys and Viridius Arcus face each other directly
Yep.
in a previous season, but it's clear that Asian Baby Boys has the upper hand in terms of like the experience of roster as well. Like we know that Asian Baby Boys last season had a lot of the star players from the Veritas Arcus roster, and now they're still here. Iden is not on this roster anymore, but they did. Most of the roster still remains the same. They have relevances as well. So a lot of familiar names all around Asian Baby Boys, locking away the Ziggs here. Ziggs very, very popular, quite destructive indeed. And the
Yeah.
Anivia, of course, the Anivia. I
Yep.
mean, Kieran or Duckman, whoever, however you might know him, very, very proficient on that chase as well. A very
Mhm.
versatile champion. Definitely gonna be one to ban away top mid. It's very powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of champions that are getting banned away that mostly are in the meta. Renekton, Jace, most likely they're gonna ban another support here. There are a lot of ways to turn around against the Asian Baby Boys because they're really respecting those picks coming in from them. The Volibear, not the usual pick,
Mhm.
but they have a player right there on the side of Asian Baby Boys who uses it a lot, and that's why most likely they're gonna ban it out. So okay, a Camille getting first pick
Yeah.
is really good because most of the time Camille late game really strong.
Yeah. Camille is the top presence, top laner, and a lot of like pro play right now. Gwen, despite the nerfs in the previous patches, still very, very powerful. Despite
Mhm.
the nerf onto the attack speed, players just had to adjust how they went about their skill leveling as the laning phase progresses. And she's back, and I love the Camille versus Gwen matchup. It's very, very swingy depending on the skill level.
Oh.
Team Xinjiao and Trundle gonna be most likely our jungle picks right here. We have seen some really crazy like Trundle support, but I don't think we'll be seeing it at all here unless Adamson's really trying to troll us right here. But they want to prove themselves under it, so I'm pretty
Okay,
sure Trundle's gonna.
yeah, having the specs, there's a lot of basic attacks going into their
Mhm.
side, and man, if ever someone on their side, yeah, this is what I was gonna point out. If they go for a Karma, most likely a Seraphine on the
Mhm.
side of Asian Baby Boys on the bot lane, that could be very destructive. They have a lot of ways to stay in the fight, and that's what they want. And Trundle is mostly effective when it comes to picks that has tanks. But with this, there's a lot of bruisers, there's a lot of fighters to the side of Asian Baby Boys. This could lower the potential power of a Trundle on their side.
Definitely. And but looking at it here, it seems our players are matching their picks here. Of course, Karma has a lot more flexibility than
Mhm.
Braum does. Kieran does have a small history of playing this, but he might just go to support here of Baby Boy.
Ah, there you
Braum, of
go.
course,
Yeah.
can come through Aphelios. Definitely top one presence marksman right
Mhm.
now. Very, very powerful. There's a little bit of a skill involved in making sure that you have the right guns for the right time during the team fights, but it's not that complicated. It's not as complicated as people make it seem.
Yeah.
Um, Aphelios isn't like giga head, giga brain. It's
Yeah.
actually really, really simple. Varus, very versatile as well. Could go two build paths to depending on how you want your comp to be and how the game is progressing. Galio is gonna get locked out here as well. Not as popular, but in
Most of them
this,
are respect picks.
yeah, most
Respect
of
fans, right?
so yeah, the Galio here, I can make an argument for banning Galio against Asian Baby Boys. They like to go for those aggressive plays where they just dive in, and with the Xinjiao and the Camille, not having the Galio there just means you have one thing less to worry about when they go for a
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah, and if this is gonna be the setup, because based on what we're seeing right now, higher, and they're forcing an ADC that's most likely gonna bet on the side of Adu game. If they're gonna pick an ADC right now, most likely it would be an Ezreal.
Mhm.
Oh, if they went in for the
Heist?
Kaisa. So Kaisa is not really on the meta right now just because Shinzao, Camille, everybody could get on top of Kaisa in the meta.
Yeah.
But with this, maybe they can make use of it just because they have the Braum, which could shield out
Mhm.
this Kaisa, and picking a really long range like Tristana ADC on the side of Asian
I like
Baby
Ezreal
Boys.
here. Ezreal Farm.
Yeah.
It's really good.
If they go for this, it's like they're just poking out in the bot lane, if ever.
Okay. Okay. Tristana. I think
It's
both
not
can
bad.
be very versatile, right? Like with Tristana or Ezreal, you have
Hmm.
a lot of mobility, rocket jump or arcane shift, which you can either use to go in or go out. And
Yeah.
like I said, Karen has a history of playing Karma, so there's really no surprise that this is gonna go mid lane with a Rakan. Okay, this tells me Tristana Rakan, they want to go in. They don't care about your unbreakable. They're just gonna skip it and then go for those fights against this Kaisa, try to bully. I mean,
Ooh.
Kaisa. There's a reason why Kaisa doesn't really have a presence in a lot of pro play right now. Is because, well, very low range,
Yep.
very easy to just jump on, go straight in with Shinjao, to go straight for a hex for an ultimatum with that Camille. Let's see how Adamson really rounds off this comp that they have. It's their first game that we're going to see on broadcast, and Yone
Ooh.
the pickup right here. They've got everything.
Wow.
They've got the Braum. They've got the Trundle as well. This Yone might struggle a bit depending on how relevant his place is jungle, but yeah, that's what Yatsukawa's for, right? Just to get that pressure so that this Yone on CL can actually come through for his team.
Yeah, honestly, this is the composition where Shen Zhao thrives on compositions where there's a lot of melee champions. Shen Zhao is really good at dueling
Mhm.
almost everyone, and basically Ione is one part of it. But without the most of the damage presence in the mid lane, that could be a threat to the Yone. This might be Shell's chance to be fighting it out, especially with Karen, because Karma doesn't have a lot of damage. He has a lot of utilities, yes,
Mhm.
but they don't have a lot. So they're losing on the AP side, the ability power side of the damage. So that might be the angle that Adu game is going for here.
Mhm. Of course. This is their first game, not their first game, but the first one that we're seeing on broadcast, and it's entirely different when you're like watching in front of like anywhere between 50 to like 300 or over 1,000 viewers, depending on what. So Adamson, they're gonna really have to give it their all here, of course. And while we're waiting for the game to start, just take a look at our players on their face cams. We actually have face cams for today's guys. We've got a Zoom background here for one of our DLNC players as well. But of course, this NCO would not be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. UAC 2020, or sorry, NCO Season 3 is powered by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, and Logitech G, our official gaming gear partner. So yeah, if you want to supercharge your gaming setups, you can hashtag keep playing. Check out Logitech's amazing gaming gear, logitech.acadarena.com. Now I got myself a G102. It's a pretty cheap mouse. It used to be 1.8, like 1.8K. Now it's
Yep.
like 900 on the shop. So check it out as well. There's a lot of big discounts as well. And Logitech.acadarena.com also gives you um, a lot of options there as well.
Yeah, and also get a chance to participate in AcadArena's major tournaments, win bragging rights and exciting prizes from our partner brands. Visit app.acadarena.com, go through the registration process, and you're good to go. And also, if you want to bring esports to your school, the AcadArena Alliance program is here for you. Alliance member clubs gets access to exclusive tournaments, mentorship, event support, and of course, the Globe Esports Merit Scholarship. Learn how to join the Alliance today at acadarena.com/alliance. And the last, hit the whoa with the AcadArena on TikTok. Make sure to follow at AcadArena. If you are a part of our first 1,000 followers, you'll get the chance to win some of our weekly giveaways. Post or tweet with the hashtag AA TikTok giveaway to make your entry count.
Yeah, so if you're a TikTok wristologist,
Yep.
get in on that. When we reach 1,000 viewers, our first 1,000 viewers, can get those exclusive prizes. And of course, for the AcadArena Alliance program, that is the format that for NCO. We have from Alliance schools, there's a qualifier for them, and
Yeah.
then there's also an open qualifiers for non-alliance squads. But of course, those alliance teams, it's a lot more exclusive, it's a lot more competitive on that side as well. So you want to get in on that. Make sure that your org gets that recognition that it needs, not just in the scene, but of course with your school admin as well. I know a lot of our esports university orgs have a little bit of a trouble getting themselves recognized
Yep.
officially by the school admin. So if you can work with AcadArena, work with the Alliance program, it would definitely be a huge step forward in doing that as well. But yeah, going back to the quarterfinals, Asian Baby Boys, and of course coming in here from Adamson, it's Adu Game. It'll be very very tough best of three here for our squads.
Yeah, man. As you were talking about the open qualifiers. Adu Game came in from the open qualifiers, fighting out with some of the really good teams, well-known teams from the alliance like TEC and even Tele Tigers during the qualifiers, and managed to secure a lot of wins. They fought out with a team called Raf's Angels, and that team relegated them to the lower bracket, and they had a revenge match onto the last one and was able to secure the slot here. It's a really, really interesting storyline for Adu Game. They fought out with a lot of teams with the format for the open qualifiers, and man, we're seeing them here fighting it out with the Metro champions, and they can prove themselves against them.
Yeah, they definitely do want to do that. It's gonna be a tough call. They are
Mhm.
the Metro champions, and Metro is one of those regions in AcadArena that's like really really competitive. A lot of top teams are from Metro as well, so it's gonna be tough, especially since aside from Aiden, most of the squad from Asian Baby Boys is still here. Relevance is here, and we know Relevance is to take part in a lot of tournaments as well outside of the NCO. So there are lots of experience under his belt here. So this could be this
Yeah.
could be Adamson University facing like a final boss level enemy at
Hmm.
the first, well, not really the first stage, but the first stage in the playoffs. So it's gonna be a tough one, and I hope that they can bring out their best here as we load onto the rift here for DLSU Asian Baby Boys here versus Adu Game from Adamson University. Indeed.
And yeah, I just hope they got a lot of experience points in leveling up while
Mhm.
fighting it out during the open qualifiers, right? Because now with the big boss, for something like Asian Baby Boys, later on, it's gonna be a big challenge for them. Because we have seen this team was able to get, especially with the macro, they're really good. And with their team composition, man, this is gonna be real hard for them. They have the Gwen, yes, but against a Camille, I'm not really sure how that will pair up, but Gwen has a lot of early game presence, and I think with the experience of relevances on the side of Asian Baby Boys, it's gonna really help them out.
I think that the prime opportunity here for Lei is the first time they commit, like level two, before the Camille gets level three. Commit level two. I do think that the Gwen has an advantage in that he has the ignite as well.
Hmm.
If he doesn't use the ignite, it's all. If he doesn't get a kill with the ignite, or at least push Ego out of lane so he can push the lane in and deny him XP and gold, then it's gonna go downhill from there unless Yatsekawa is able to get some ganks in. And even if Yatsukawa can get some ganks in, it might just be a 2v2 or even a 3v3 with Relevances and maybe Kieran going in there and messing things up. So it's a very, very tight rope that Lei is like walking on right now, just up.
Yeah, it's even harder when we think about how much of they don't have a lot of CC on the side of Ado Game. Yes, they have a lot of firepower, but without the CC that could help out this attackers on their side. For example, even Shell is an attacker. That could be hard for Yatsikawa to go in, get some effective ganks for the squad of Adu Game. But now, think about the junglers. They both started on the bottom side, so most likely they would meet up on the top lane. Most likely they're gonna allocate their resources on the top side, and I wish they would get the first kill there. And I mean, Yatsikawa needs to put in more effort just because they don't have much CC on their side.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it at the routing, Yatsukawa is going for the full clear. Meanwhile, Relevance is skip. Skip just all the way from red buff all the way to blue. Probably gonna go for a gank here, either mid lane or top lane, or at least contest the disruptor at that point. So it's really about how much Relevances can get before Yatsukawa is able to get those ganks out level 6. And yeah, it is going to be a little bit harder without a like full dedicated tank to this Trundle to really shine. But still, we know how powerful pillars can be. I don't think the nerf onto the slow of the pillar is live yet. That's 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna Yatsukawa's gonna go through for
Oh,
gank
Ego.
here. Yeah, good pillar right there. Can Eagle make it out? No, it's not gonna
Oh,
come through.
he's
Levens
fighting.
is can he 1v2 in this squad? Can he at least trade one? Flash is gonna get burnt here, and it is going to be Relevance is having to run away. Kieran is not here to help him out here, and it's gonna be a full 2v2. Using the
Oh.
smite here to heal back up. This is gonna be a 2v2. Lei
Timing.
does not want Lei does not want to commit to this. He does not have the flash. Has to jump over. And here comes Ego as well, coming back from the dead here. And I think he's going to be able to catch up. Lei does not have any mana. Just one more hook shot is going to do it. But will Ego commit? No, he is not. But he pushes him out of the lane to break that down. Dash.
Look at the replay, everyone. Ego was trying his best to get this, but with that pillar, was able to secure the kill. And Relevance's on this last parts of the fight, he was I thought it was Lei's turn to win. If he got the 2-0 during that fight, that could have been really good for Ado game. It could set apart the facing for the top lane, especially against Gwen on the top lane. It's gonna be hard for Ego to come back from it, but at least they were able to answer back with Relevances, able to get the kill against Yatsukawa.
Yeah, I think in the end though, if you have the ignite and you essentially trade like 2 for 1, I think it's definitely losing on your side. Even if you did get the kill and your lane opponent only got an assist, he has pretty much twice the CS right now, forced onto the Bramble Vest as well. Ego is like, okay, I'll just go for even more combat stats here. I think it's still a little even, but Lei definitely is the one playing catch up here.
Yeah, just because he lost a lot of waves on the top side, that could set apart the face, especially for Camille on the top side, having more CS and having more combat stats. That could be hard for Lei to fight through, but we all know Gwen is really has a lot of damage, even though in the early game he has been nerfed with the attack speed, yes, just because it gives a lot for Gwen, especially on the laning phase. But now we have the Ocean Drake coming up, but most likely nobody would contest this at this minute, just because I mean Ocean Drake is easy to get, but still nobody has much of the combat stats that they need, especially having Karen on the Karma in the mid lane.
Yeah, no one's really getting a decisive lead here on the bot lane. And Jars and Leomar, they're pretty much, this lane is pretty much going the way it usually does, and how level 1 it's the Rakan and this is Tronic kind of backing off. After that, it's them going for the pressure, but I wouldn't really call it like hard priority because it sounds like Jars is being pressured so hard right now. But Relevance is trying to threaten the Drake here at that point. Maybe if Jars and Hope go for a commit here. So I think it's a little bit too far forward for Leomar inside. Okay, gonna go through with the grand entrance here. Gonna get that exhaust onto Jars or Relevance. Can he get the 3-point strike on? Rather the 3-talent strike here? No, it's not gonna come through. They do burn the flash, however. That's at the cost of Sagi. I think that's a pretty good trade here. Trading exhaust, heal, and flash for one summoner.
Yeah, they burned a lot on the bot lane. Now, because of that, they can take this Ocean Drake without any contest because, you know, it's going to be hard.
But actually go for the 2v3 here. As long as Yatsukawa isn't here, they can go for one more shot onto Hope. It's going to reset the rocket jump, but does he even have the mana for it? No, it's going to come through 4v. Going to go for the dive. Karen goes for the renewal. Can he actually get him? Yes, it's going to be one more shot here for Sagi, but not quite. That was a perfect tanking of the turret there, so Karen can pick up the kill, and I think that pretty much secures the Ocean Drake. Yatsukawa arriving a little bit too late to the party. Look at that.
Yeah, good use of the burn on the side of Asian Baby Boys. They were able to burn the flash, was able to burn the heal and the exhaust. That's why Asian Baby Boys was able to capitalize on that and got themselves 2 kills and an Ocean Drake on top of it. Now, they have better stats and most likely Shell.
Go for it. No, you do get the secure. It's going to be 2v3 at this point. You're going to get knocked off by the fake Seal. That's going to go through. They're going to try and take down Seal here, knocking him up, but I think they have to give Karen's life for that. Can they pick up Relevance's flash for it too? Usagi is going to come in here as well. Can he save his buddy? It does seem like that will be the case. Just one more hit would have been the proc on that stun here, those concussive blows, but it's going to be a 1 for Drake there, and I do think that's an okay trade here on the side of Adams.
Yeah.
Ocean Drake isn't gonna be too big until later, and even during the laning phase, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, at least it could help the laners for their laning phase, but not that much of a change when it comes to the advantage of Asian Baby Boy. So good trades coming in from Adu game. They were able to punish the Ocean Drake take there from the side of Asian Baby Boys, but now it's usually equalizing when it comes to their resources. They haven't been really pounding onto Jars. He's not getting that disadvantage, even though we said a while ago that he has a range disadvantage in the bot lane. It's not getting that punished, but top lane, the Rift Herald is up. Most likely going to be target for Yatsikawa to at least answer back to that Ocean Drake being taken on their side.
Definitely. With the Drake being taken down, turret's not really under duress or anything. The Rift Herald is really the next big thing that you can leverage. And if they can open up like mid lane, it's gonna keep Karen busy a little bit more and allow them to take over the sides, maybe get some more invade there instead of they do get that Rift Herald, but it does seem like they are setting up for it. Junglers moving to the top side of the map. Yeah, Relevance is going this top jungle at that point. And doesn't seem like, yeah, they're even setting Usagi over to the Rift Herald as well. And the hope is hovering, but I think they're gonna prefer and keep him around Jars right now.
Yeah, I think they had the advantage here if ever Usagi would stay on this lane, because Leomark has an advantage in the bot lane anyway. He has the range, he has the rocket jump in case someone goes into the bot side. But it's a good thing that Hope was able to know that something is happening. Let's go for this fight. Even though that he's low on level, he's still level 5. He doesn't have the ultimate that could help them
Killer?
straighten out. The Glacial Fissure is not still up, so they're gonna cancel out this Rift Herald for sure.
They do have the rest of the members in, but I think DLSU wants to fight. I think they know that they can try and disrupt this at least. Delay okay, it's gonna reset. That's actually really, really bad. And this gives a lot more time for DLSU to maybe try and make something happen here. They got it at half HP, a lot of ultimates. No Swift coming in well, but it's gonna be a lot of burst damage coming in from Ego, coming through, taking out Yasukawa. That's a jungler going down. That's 2 members now down for Adams and University CL fighting back though. Kieran and Ego also fighting back. No more jungler for either side at that point, but they get secured. Kieran getting a lot of damage though. They do get the Rift Herald and more kills on top of that, and that is going to be 4 for 2 with Rift Herald being secured by the 4, which means DLSU gets a decisive win there. Look at that.
Yeah, good. Look at this replay, everyone. The ultimate coming in from Shinzao was what helped them secure this Drake. It was able to take out the positioning from the side of Adu game. Now, with Asian Baby Boy securing this Rift Herald, they were able to secure the Ocean Drake. They're really on top of their game when it comes to these objectives. Even though that they kind of lost a bit of the members there, they are on top still. They were able to take down 4 members on top of the Rift Herald, and this could help them take more plates, take more gold onto their wallets, and would help them cement their advantage against Adu game.
Yeah, the most important thing there was like the alpha strike. Since Adu was busy with the Rift Herald, DLSU got the first strike, and that pretty much gave them the win in that team fight. And even though it traded 2, but yeah, this is a very solid win. Most of the gold is concentrated around Ego and Kieran around that point. And even though Kieran isn't really like huge damage, the base damage of the farm is so high. A lot of utility gonna come through with the Shurelias, which once again they'll be going in and in and in. Next Drake, I won't be surprised if they let Adu maybe take the initiative on the Drake and then disrupt them, or they can go for the Drake and then turn with their Shurelias when Adu is gonna come towards the flank on the Drake. So we are very, very scary, and Adu has to keep in mind that PLSU, their team fighting is kind of on point right now.
Yeah, and also when it comes to having Kieran with the Karma on this side of Asian Baby Boys, they have better staying power during the fight. So more DPS on their side, they have a lot of shielding, and they could out-sustain Adu game on long fights. But okay, they're gonna go top lane.
Yeah, it's gonna be the bonus domain here coming from Yatsukawa. That is gonna be the point. The thrust not hitting here for relevances, but he is playing keep away with Yatsukawa. Lei is gonna be next on the chopping block here, but here comes Usagi coming through, roaming to the top side, pulling a Crescio right there.
Yeah.
And a huge swing here. They already beat up Lei, who is like half the CS of Ego, and then they summon the Rift Herald here. perfect pick. I mean,
Oh,
Steel's gonna try and catch this wave, but looking at the replay, yeah, it was
yeah.
doomed from the start.
Yeah, it looked like Asian baby boys are losing on that end during the fight, but when Usagi came in with a great grand entrance, that was what cemented their win during that fight. And now with that, they have more pressure in the top side. Lei would have a hard time fighting it out, but
Yep.
Leo Mark though,
Okay, I don't think he wants to get stunned right there and eat a
yeah.
plasma proc. So I think he's just gonna back off. But even then, it's fine. I think Leomark knows that he can stay safe.
Mhm.
Like 2v1, like even with the threat of a concussive blows blocking, I think he just rocket jump out after his power comes. He's not really pressing his luck or anything.
Yeah.
Leomark, though, yeah, he does have the pot as well. So it's gonna be the next break fight. And once again, you have to be looking at Kieran. The Shurelius is off cooldown now, which means they can either turn or go for a disrupt really hard with their Rakan and their Shinjao and even Ego.
Yeah, this is what I love about that Tristana in the bot lane. Even though that we know that Tristana is a late game beast, she has a lot of sustain during the early game to mid game because of the sheer range that she can have and also the rocket jump. So Leomark is playing this so well that even Rakan is able to go into the top lane, allocate more resources onto the other sides because he's very self-sustaining rin naman eh. Leomark is gonna have an easy time in the bot lane, especially against a Kaisa. Kaisa doesn't have much range, and Leomark is just using that in his favor. And because of that, now they have a lot more kills, and most likely on this next objective could be a chance for the Asian baby boys to fight back, show their fighting prowess, and the allocated resources would shine during that objective fight later on.
Mhm. And right now, it's really about if Ado is willing to risk losing even more to try
Mm-hmm.
and contest this Drake. I do think it's a Cloud Drake, right? So I wouldn't really put too much priority on it looking at
Yeah.
their cost. I think they can choose to give it away and just wait for just wait for they're
Ooh,
actually choosing to
going
take
for it.
to go for it. They
Ooh,
will secure it actually.
really?
It doesn't seem like DLSU says, okay, we can disrupt this, but okay. So it was DLSU with that thinking. With okay, it's Cloud Drake. It's pretty big on the ultis, but their ultis aren't really too big aside from maybe the Fate Sealed and the Glacial Fissure. So we can give it. We can't really risk anything too big right now against the Drake. So let's try and get them with a dive, possibly
Yeah.
maybe bot lane or mid.
Yeah, they
But yeah,
can't use it that much anyway naman Rhyron. Kasi on their side din naman, only Usagi has a big ultimate that could help them out. I mean, Relevances still has the ultimate, yes, but hindi talaga nila kailangan ilagay yung priority on that side. So maybe later on the Infernal Lake, they would fight it out for sure. Yun yung kailangan kuhanin ng Asian baby boys at this point. So for now, they're just waiting for the chance for Leo Mark to actually step up later on with the range and the sheer damage that they can bring. Even though that they have a lot of sustaining power during the fights, they're still not risking it kasi if they give just one advantage inside the Padu game, Jars could go in for a rampage anytime soon.
go for those resets as well. And
Yeah.
CL is 2-1-1 and ahead of TS, so he's actually a little bit of a threat. And if CL gets a shutdown on either Ego and Kieran, that could mean that the team fights are going to be harder. If Relevance is going to make something good fighting, going to come through, get that stopwatch coming through, but Jars is the next target right here. One more hit is going to do it. It seems like they're going to focus on Hope as well, but Relevance says spin to win with that ulti. Flashes over to pick it up. Wind becomes lightning, and he is the storm that is approaching, and that is probably gonna be a lot of damage onto that turret. Look at that.
Man, look at this replay looking at what's happening. Because look at that. They just went in. Relevances didn't even flinch during that flash. He wanted to get those double kills to give more advantage to his laners. And now, Asian Baby Boys gets 2 kills for 1. But look at this. Shell is fighting it out on the bot side.
No revenge kill, but at least he is there to catch the wave while Yatsukawa is going to beat up the lane wave as well, so it's not wasted. As there's no camps on the side of Yatsukawa, so we do know that Adu is able to at least get some resources, or not waste resources while they're getting ganked in DLSU. This 5k gold lead is substantial. DLSU can continue to leverage that. With this kind of comp, you really want to be ahead. You can't really go for if you're even, you can't really go for 5v5 team fights because you don't really have a super solid tanky front line. It's mostly like fighters on the
Yeah.
and really start leveraging it. I think mid lane or finishing off the bot lane tower is going to be the next one. They can have the market shot. It means they are eyeing to open up the map.
Oh.
He was coming in with Hextech Ultimatum. That is one dead Jars. Getting bullet. Hope bursted down, chunked down to half, and Ego finishes him off. And then the mid lane could be their next target as well. Can Yasukawa get here in time? This, the waves gonna get cut short.
Man, yeah, Manhattan, that is looking really scary. Asian baby boys with Karen just using the karma shield in their favor every time. They can't even do damage at the side of Adu. Yes, they have some sustain on their kit. They have Immortal Shield go on Shell, pero feel ko it's not enough.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard to fight against them because they don't even have much CC. Yes, may Glacial Fissure. Yes, may Concussive Blows. But would that be enough during the fights? Feel ko it's not enough to help them out.
Yeah, because if you think about these fights, Ego is gonna try and fight it
Oh.
out CL. Does one level advantage here, and there is an Immortal Shield on the set of CL. He is really farmed up. 160 CS in 70 minutes is quite respectable, considering that their jungler is behind. So it's a decent spot here for CL, but he needs to find that big break, right, in a team fight. He needs to get those shutdowns to really get the game back in his hands. It's gonna be really tough for the rest of his team.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tough for the game. They need to find a way to at least pick off some members because Asian baby boys are not showing it every time. Look at this bot lane though.
Oh man, CL.
Oh no!
Okay. Oh no.
He's gonna go back.
Oh no. Oh, he does have the ulti to try and get out.
Oh.
Very, very clean, but it's
Oh.
relevant to choose. Okay, well, you're gonna go back. You already lost everything that could save you there. Flash could have been burned. Lay though, something happened. He's gonna get kidnapped here with the Hextech Ultimatum.
What?
The charm is gonna come through from
No, they can't fight
from
this.
behind though. Why did they continue to go in there? Jar is trying to find some safety in the tower, getting those concussive blows procs off. Usagi comes in to sacrifice his life to pick up the kill onto Jars, allowing the reset for Leomark, getting a quadra. Is that a quadra coming in for Leomark there? 5-0 and 5. You were asking about when Leomark is gonna go online. Here he go. Give him 4 kills.
Yeah, man, he showed during that fight the sheer positioning of Leomar during the fight, just out position, and the time. It was still Ego. Ego was still there during that fight. That's why they're dealing a lot of damage, even though that they're onto the tower. That is just the confidence coming in from the side of Asian baby boys. They're not even afraid of jumping towards Ado game because they know they have the advantage. They have Karen with the shields, and they have a lot of sustain, man. It's just so hard for Ado game to fight back at this point. Just looking at that Goldie, that's 8k. That's too much, and it's mostly allocated towards the bot lane.
And at that point, it's gonna be really, really tough because in a position like this, DLSU isn't completely winning, so they can continue leveraging. For this to fall off, it's gonna be hard because both Camille and Tristana scale really well, and Adu, they're really gonna have to depend on Hope and Yasukawa being a frontline later, but with Divine Sunbird there, it's not really too tanky. So they just have to make sure that they can catch DLSU while they're not on the hunt. But it's very difficult because Asian baby boys, they're always going to be looking for a kill, looking for a dive, and they have so many tools to supplement that. They have the adaptive defenses from Ego to give them that shield. Relevance is a lot of sustain on itself. Garen has all those shields, so he gets two heals here and there. And Leomark probably has Ravenous Hunter, so even without any lifesteal items, he's still gonna sustain back a little bit. So
yeah,
it's very, very.
Yeah, Ado game, nakikita ko Ado game is trying their best to go for picks. But most of the time, Asian baby boys is just sticking together. And that's the reason why they can go for fights for real. Because when they stick together in the side of Asian baby boys, Ado game doesn't have any firepower or at least burst to fight them out. Because all they have is DPS. They all have DPS on their side. And that's why they can burst out even one member. Look at this.
He better hope that he's got backup right here. He is the tankiest member. But look at that burst damage coming through. One more shot. The tactical sweep is going to catch him on the edge. That's going to be Relevance is picking up the kill against Yasukawa. Are they going to go for the Baron call right here? They're going to wow, 20-minute Baron. They do have the gold lead for it. They did. The good thing about this kind of composition is they're going to go for a dive skill. A lot of damage here. That is going to be him going back to his soul unbound, having to run away. Still pushed out, but Ego comes in and picks him up. mid lane turret as well. Shelly's like, okay, I gotta go back. You saw the Rift Herald try to turn around there, but he just slaps the Rift Herald back into action. They pick up the Baron at that point. This is an unquestionably
Yeah.
advantageous.
Man, Ego having this much of an advantage is the reason why they can even go 1v1. Even 2v1 is going to be hard against Ego. He has the Hydra, he has the Triforce, and he deals a lot of damage. Shell had the Immortal Shield bow, and just one proc of that Q just destroyed pretty much the whole Immortal Shield bow during that time. And that just shows how much advantage the LSU has. And they're thinking of securing this next objective. Wala pa nga yung next objective, and they're really
Go
putting
for the
the
towers.
pressure on the side of Adu game.
Yeah, with the towers all out for mid and for mid, that means that these side lanes are going to be a lot more vulnerable. I think they're not really going to go for like split pushes. I think, and they're just going to leverage the Baron for mid lane and then go for the bot lane here, and then they can start choking out the inhibitor turrets at that point on mid and bot. At that point, it's going to be hard for Adu to really fight back because a lot of their resources are going to get taken away.
Yeah, this is what I like about Asian baby boys. They're just sticking together every time and slowly they're not really splitting up because they know that they're better when they're together with the karma on their composition, and they might be able to take down this bottom lane inhibitor turret.
And that's only a few shots from Leomart without the explosive shots being procced
Yeah.
here. Good thing that Adu does have reasonable wave clear against Baroned up minions, but this, unless something changes in this situation, DLSU Asian Baby Boys is just gonna continue cycling. Their minions push in, get a few shots in with Leomart. The
Oh,
tower is
no.
gonna go down, and it's going to be
Oh.
him going in there with the quickness. Another good dive here coming in from DLSU, and that's going to be
Oh,
Leomart picking up those
no.
kills. Going to start for the refreshes on this. Oh, the four-man knockup, but it's not enough. He doesn't have enough damage. Jars is going to try and make something happen. He cannot do a Leomart, and he goes down right before the plasma procs here. And that is going to be a four-man team fight here for DLSU, and now they can finish off the game. 30
Yeah.
seconds on the clock means that DLSU can pick up game one here in this best of three against Adamson University game.
Yeah, that looked pretty strong on the side of Asian baby boys. They were able to secure all the objectives that they need. They didn't even make much mistakes during that time. Most of the time when they give deaths to the side of Adu game, it's them also taking more kills in their favor. And that's Asian baby boys just calculating through during team fights, during trades. And that's what I like about this team. They're just on top of their game right now.
hmm And yeah, Asian Baby Boys looking really happy there on the player cams. Man, that was a clean first game. And I
Yep.
think Asian Baby Boys can just keep doing this. Right?
Yep.
Unless there's one thing that Adamson can try and fight back against this kind of composition by Asian Baby Boys, and that's to
Uh-huh.
make sure that they don't get like a 5k gold lead at like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? They just need to survive and make sure that those dives are not happening because Asian Baby Boys will keep doing that.
Yep. I mean, if they could just give this champions, like the early game champions, if they can just use that on the side of Adu game, because the way that Asian Baby Boys went in for the draft a while ago, they're really picking the investments that they can get early in the game para pag late game, they have some damage going through to their side. So if they have that, deny the Shinzao from getting thick and pick something that could have the early game advantage against them, that could be the composition that Adu game needs.
Xin Zhao is just way too strong. Even with Trundle being very popular, I
Yeah.
don't think I'm the type to like really pick it early and
Yep.
pick it early in the rotation, despite him being very very popular. Right? They could go for the Lee Sin, despite a few of the adjustments to Lee Sin in the previous patches. But yeah, I think Lee Sin would pretty much solve their problems here, assuming that their jungler here can actually make that happen in the early game, get those ganks out. More importantly, I think more than ganks is counter ganks against Asian Baby Boys.
Yeah, the only thing na parang nakita ko kanina when they picked up the Trundle, I was thinking that they're gonna go for a flex. At least make it a trap na they're gonna go for it for the jungle, then go for it in the bot lane as a support, which could
I think
really
they would have
help.
lost harder if they had.
Really now. I mean,
Yeah.
if Rakan wasn't on the on the game during that time.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
could have been good if ever Alistar or maybe a Nautilus was picked
Mhm.
rather than the Rokon. That could be a good chance for them, and maybe nag-adjust sila during the draft. And that's why most of the time games are won by the drafting talaga when it comes to the team composition. If you show your cards early on, that could be just DLSU Asian Baby Boys countering you super hard during the draft.
Mhm. So it's really gonna depend on which side Adamson chooses for game two. If they go for blue side, they can try and pick up those power jungler picks early, and if they go red side again, they might be have a little bit more trouble because I think DLSU performs really well when they have the initiative on things, and that includes
Oh,
both
right.
team fights and in the draft. So if they get blue side here, that's gonna let them dictate the pace of the uh, not yeah the pace of the draft here. If they're the ones to pick things up early, uh, then Adamson will have to be on the reactive side.
Yeah, if ever nga na nasa reactive side yung Asian Baby Boys during the drafting, and I don't know if they would be able to, kasi if ever they pick the first, if they get the first pick, yes, but they're gonna get two more after the first phase of the picks. They could get two more on the next fight, the next phase, and that could be Asian Baby Boys again dictating the
Mhm.
drafting pace. But the game needs to set up for their game, especially on the drafting pace. And I'm kind of expecting more. I can see the promise that they're trying their
Yeah,
best to go for
definitely.
picks a while ago. Pero it was Asian Baby Boys talaga. Nauuna lang talaga sila during the fights. And even with the macro and the crosshair placements nila during the fights, they know who to target every time. And that's why they won most of the fights.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how much potential that they have, and even though they're losing, they're finding ways that they can trade back,
Yeah.
right? And during that time where they got dove bot lane, they had to send their mid laner bot. Their jungler, since he already had all his camps cleared, goes to catch mid lane wave, and they're pretty much not wasting any of their resources when they're already behind. So really, if they can continue that efficiency while being ahead,
Yeah.
while getting a lead early, I think they can definitely leverage this against DLSU Asian Baby Boys. But
Yeah.
they're up against the Metro champions, so in itself, that's already a challenge for Adamson. So maybe we'll see them try to steal something away from DLSU. It does seem like they're going to be on blue side in game two, so
Yep.
maybe their draft will be a little bit better since when they're the ones dictating the pace of that.
Yeah, if ever they had a lot of experience during the qualifiers against a lot of teams na they are really well known. If they could just allocate their skill points and leveled up a bit during that time, that could be a chance. I mean, this experience against Asian Baby Boys is also a good thing
Mhm.
because now even though na best of three siya, it's easier to come back from a best of three rather than, for example, a best of five or a best of seven. Best of threes are easy to come back to dahil even though you lost one, your back's against the wall,
Mhm.
you can still go for two more games. It's kind of
Mhm.
easy to take
It's not
notes
as
and
tiring.
yeah, and they know what to do on the next one. They just need to take notes on this first one.
And that's always the case when you're facing off against a more experienced team. You need to make sure that every game is something that you can learn from. And Adu will have to review this VOD maybe depending on how they perform in the series. They're gonna have to review the VOD and later and say, okay, ito yung dito tayo nagkamali. Dito yung tama ng Asian Baby Boys. How can we replicate that kind of success? And against
Yeah.
other teams, how can we respond more properly to that? Right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of research, a lot of study that has to go into it as well. And then that's really the work. That's a collaborative work between the coach and the the players themselves. And hopefully, Adamson does have a capable coach that can do that. So
Yeah.
still, Kinjao being banned out, as you said, Zig still being banned by ABB. I don't think they're going to change that too much.
Yeah. What's really hard about this, Aaron, during the drafting phase is that there's some specialists on the side of Asian Baby Boys
Mhm.
that they need to ban. For example, Karen with the Anavia getting banned every time. Parang nawawalan sila lagi ng bans on the side of
Mhm.
Ado game na pwedeng i-capitalize ng
Yeah,
Asian Baby
and
Boys. This,
and Karen's champion pool is wide enough that
yes.
you
Yeah.
banned my Anivia, okay, okay, we'll pick something else. Seems to
Yeah.
be the game plan for ABB, So they're not really too bothered by that. Shinjao, I think, is a good ban,
Yep.
but it's gonna leave something open here, like Trundle
Diego.
and Shinjao. So it's gonna leave from the previous bans on the side of Adu. What did they ban out last game?
Oh, they banned out the Trundle.
They
which
ban
is
out the Trundle here.
yeah, that was their pick, and it's really interesting. They don't want to fight against the Trundle, which is okay, but there's a chance that another jungler could get picked here. What
Aphelios
I'm
is open here. Are they gonna first pick the marksman here instead of Adu? It's gonna be the question. And
If they-
Thresh is also okay. Thresh isn't open here this time. This
if
time
they
Asian Baby
first pick
Voice.
Aphelios, it's kind of hard hiring because most of the time when the Aphelios is gonna get picked, a Varus and Ezreal could be
Yeah.
a hard matchup,
Yeah,
honestly.
Varus. That means Varus and Aphelios are open here.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd go for a first pick on either of them.
Yes.
I do think
for
it's
sure.
better for Adu to pick a very strong jungler that can dictate the pace of the game.
Volibear.
They did ban away the Volibear last game against Ego, and this is a little bit of a flex. I haven't really seen a lot of Volibear anywhere, like at most in the jungle. This is probably going to be more jungle oriented because I don't want to send Volibear against Irelia or Gwen
Yeah.
or
for
Camille or Camille.
Sure. Oh no, Ego still has that Camille, man. He really slapped in the top lane when he used that Camille. So it's gonna be hard because Relevances could have a chance. I mean, Relevance's champion pool is really big, and most likely I'm kind of expecting, especially against a Volibear, a Viego could really be a good pick against that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, did they ban a Trundle so they could pick up the Volibear here?
Yeah,
and even with
I think so.
it's a really. I think it's a really weak flex.
Yep.
It's an all right jungler, I guess. But Jarvan.
Oh, that's okay. That's
Okay,
Oh!
they pick up the Aphelios here. It was left open here, which
Yeah.
means that Adu will have to, like, maybe pick Varus before second rotation. If they do want to go for the Varus here, the Volibear, I'm wondering, it has to go jungle. It has to go jungle. Because I think sending the Volley top is just suicide. So yeah,
there you go.
Gwen, I think I prefer. I mean, who are the open top laners right now? Irelia.
Yeah,
Irelia, I would
Irelia.
definitely be okay with against the Camille.
Jace is also open if ever you
Jace
wanna.
is also open, yeah, with
Mhm.
Renekton being banned out. Yeah, I think that's the reason why ABB bans a Renekton, right? To make sure that Ego has a
Yeah.
lane that he can maintain, and where it's either a skill lane where they're confident that Ego can win, or a matchup that they are unabashedly ahead.
Okay. Picking up the Tristana on the first rotation. I mean, it's okay, but
I think that's
you could.
okay.
Yeah,
But I don't think they
it's-
would have banned it, right? I don't think ABB would have banned the Tristana
Yeah.
second
Against an
in the second
Aphelios?
phase.
Yeah.
But
I think
Braum
that
here
will
I
work
like.
well. Oh yeah. Yeah. If ever the Braum, I mean the Braum got picked already, so they have the advantage in bot lane. At least they could protect this Aphelios on the bot lane, and that could be more effective if ever they get the advantage, allocate the resources in the bot lane. Aphelios could just snowball, and we all know how much of a beast Aphelios is in the late game.
Yeah, team fights, Aphelios, get like depends on what they want, right? If for this kind of composition, you don't really need Gravitum, just go for Crescendum with Infernum, and that's already a lot of AoE damage for the team fights coming through. And yeah, I do like the Braum instead of say a Rakan with Aphelios.
Oh right.
They're not really a like pair, right? Aphelios
Yep.
Rakan isn't really something. But
Yeah.
Braum, I think, is a lot more versatile here. So they're gonna ban up the Karma here against Kieran. Will Asian BB Boys, what are they gonna block out here? TF, very, very popular mid lane. They don't want to deal with the map pressure. Maybe CL plays the Rise. They can pick it up here on the second phase of picking phase. And I do think the Rise could be pretty decent here. A little bit of scaling with the Tristana.
Yep.
A lot of magic damage, a little bit of CC, and great map play potential.
I'm kind of expecting, especially when a Braum gets picked, I'm kind of expecting a set, if ever it's in the bag of Adu game, especially against an Aphelios and a Braum. That could be easy face breakers every time whenever they go in. It's gonna be hard because Shell having the rocket jump early on, they could go for fights in the bot lane if ever they want to go for the set in the bot side.
Possibly. But Jarvan being locked away the Yana, it's okay. I think the Yana has really fallen
Really?
a bit out of favor. Yeah, it's not as popular as it was before, and I definitely understand why. Clear speed was nerfed in the previous patches, so here is a lot weaker. It's a lot weaker than say the Jarvan, which was banned away, and it's a lot weaker than the jungler that they had in the previous game that could just, since the Xin Zhao is banned out. I like the Leona with a Tristana here. The mid lane Galio is left open, unlike the last game, and it would give them the map play potential that they could have had with the TF or the Rise. Because uh, Syndra blind pick, I don't like it. I don't like Syndra as much anymore. Used to be a staple, right? It used to be a staple.
Ooh. If that was a Asian baby boys going in for the Irelia after the Syndra gets locked in.
They do have the tools for it. They do have 2 knockups.
Yeah.
I think Galio is better. Galio is better here. If they're looking for dive potential, they have that with a lot. They have Lunar Rush into Moonfall. They have the Hextech Ultimatum. They have the Glacial Fissure, and they have the Hero's Entrance to back it up. Whatever they're gonna go in for the dive, that means Leomar can go for a lot of free hits. I like this a lot from Asian Baby Boys. Meanwhile, this is kind of a lukewarm draft from Adamson. I'm sorry, I have to say it. It's a little bit lukewarm. I don't like the Volibear. I don't like the Syndra. I like Tristana and Leona a lot. Gwen's okay.
Yeah, Gwen is always there. But from what we're seeing here, Hiron, they don't have any access to, on the side of Adu game, they don't have any access to the backline, which is going to be real hard. Because if you just let Leo Mark wreak havoc, especially with the crescendum on the Aphelios, man, it's going to be real hard. Because what Asian Baby Boys wants on this fight is that they just need to go front to back every time. And when that happens, that could be the chance for Leo Mark to just deal damage onto the front line and destroy everyone that he can see.
There's a little bit of access here, just a little bit. The Volibear, I think. Now the Volibear's backline dive is pretty weak.
Yeah.
Now, at least in this patch, and Leona's possible. Leona's possible. It does leave Jars very open for Ego or Relevances to just jump on him. But it might be a price that they have to pay if they want access on the market. But I think in a front to back, I do think Adu has a chance. But Asian Baby Boys is not going to let them have that.
Yeah.
They're not going to let them go front to back.
Yeah,
they're going to make it so that if they have the front to back, Asian Baby Boys has a better front to back than they do. They have Galio, they have Camille, and the Leo, and I do think there's a lot more phases in the game, especially mid game, where the Aphelios has a lot more on his plate, or no, a lot more in his belt, under his belt, than the Tristana. Like 15 to 20 minutes, Aphelios probably. I would prefer the Aphelios to the Tristana here, at least in this type of comp, right?
Yeah, especially for this team composition. I mean, Ego could just go in the backline later on if he wants to. Just get a pick on Shell and Jars, even though they're scattered the week available, and also the ultimate from Tristana that could help them out. It's still not enough. The Buster shot would not be enough to actually pull back against Ego, especially with the addition of a Hextech Ultimatum onto their side. They need to at least get the first move against Asian Baby Boys if they want to. If a Scatter the Wick hits, that could be the chance for them to combo at least one member, because most of the composition of Asian Baby Boys has damage. Other than Karen having the Galio, everybody has damage. So at least you need to take down one, and that could be enough for them to gain advantage during the fights.
They do have the Leona. They do have the Syndra. I think they have you make a good argument for them pulling the trigger first.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they have to be ahead. They have to be ahead early, and that's very tough against an experienced team like ABB. Like Leona when behind isn't really a champion. Syndra when behind isn't really a champion.
Yeah.
It's more like stun bot.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure that they enable CL, and they have to make sure that Jars and Hope are not put behind by say Relevance is getting a gank in, proccing that concussive blows from Usagi, and then maybe level 6 Kieran goes for a 4v3 in the bot lane. It's gonna be tough.
Oh man, as you were saying, man, it's at least Yatsekawa has the advantage early game, especially against Relevances, because Relevances wouldn't deal that much damage. Wala rin masyadong CC dun sa Diana early in the game. Kaya I think that's the chance for Yatsekawa to pull triggers everywhere he wants. That's where Volibear thrives. The early game battles dahil may stun, there's a lot of CC, malakas pa yung damage to early game. So it all depends on Yatsikawa for Adu game to win here.
Hmm. Once again, a lot of weight on the shoulders of the jungler there,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be tough because Relevances for sure is not going to let him get those ganks for free. Yes, it is
Yeah.
a Diana. A Diana might not be too hot in the ganks pre-level 6, but Diana is pretty good in counter ganks.
Yep.
Diana is pretty good in counter ganks. Being able to get there once you've already committed means that there's not a lot of like um, pressure for the Diana to go for the gap close since
Yeah.
once you've already committed. So it's a little bit tough. Once again, this is a best of 3, so Adu could turn the momentum to their side if they win this game too. But ABB, they're a very experienced team as the Metro champions. They have what it takes to finish this off. But Adamson, maybe they have what it takes to turn the tide in their favor here.
Yeah, if they go and turn the tide against the Asian Baby Boys, that's really a big step forward for the side of Adu game. It's really a big step because Asian Baby Boys being the juggernaut that they are right now on the National Campus Open, it could really help them out build the confidence for the team, for them to get more experience, man. It's just their
Mhm.
I mean, even though they came in from the open qualifiers, it's still really big for them to fight against Asian Baby Boys and get all those rack up all those levels, experience points that they
Mhm.
can get against them and use it on the next one. Pero now, on this game, they can still fight it out. They still have the chance to turn it around against DLSU Asian Baby Boys.
For Adamson University Adu game versus DLSU Asian Baby Boys, it's going to be all about the early game here for CL. This time Lei is on that flash instead of the ignite, so I think he's less confident in being able to leverage that ignite early, and he's just going for a normal non-sinner lane. Like if you take ignite teleport on Gwen, you're kind of a sinner.
Oh yeah.
Right? The
Yeah.
flash is a little bit more well-rounded here. I do like it. I do like
Yeah.
the shift to it because it means he's not all inning on that ignite.
Yeah.
Is
Because
a thing here.
I think what we're going here for Lay here is that hindi nag-work yung ignite niya kanina. So that's
Oh,
why he wants to go with a safer route talaga in the top lane. And maybe it could work against Ego. Kasi Ego had a lot of advantage just because Relevances was always there to help him out. So Yatsikawa, maybe if he puts in the resource in the top lane, mahirapan si Ego against Lay. Maybe that could be a chance for them to gain at least a bit of advantage for Lei. Kasi when a Gwen gets an advantage, she snowballs hard.
yeah, definitely. And that means that their top lane dives aren't going to be as effective. It means that Kieran will have to focus more on bot lane if he go for 4v3s. And I do think that 4v3 is a little easier than 3v2. Or rather, a 2v3 is harder than 3v4.
True.
Yeah.
True. But a bot lane though, a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, just a little bit of trades before level 2 happens. It's nothing too big. That's really how you want to play the lane here. Leomark taking a lot of damage here. He does have the cleanse, but as long as they're dealing damage to Hope, it should be fine because you want to get that pre-level 2. Okay, they lose a level 2. That's pretty much how it goes in this lane. But
Yeah.
pre-level 3, you want to make sure you deal as much damage to the Leona to try and discourage the Leona player from
Yeah.
from going for a dive, especially with a small nerf to the Eclipse resistances.
Yeah.
It's almost hitting.
Oh man, it's really scary. It's Hope just trying to get the Zenith Blade every time, even though that they're close to the tower. They're just really showing who's the alpha in the bot lane. And I think that's a good way to play the lane, the bot side, especially they have the advantage earlier on in the game. And the way that the junglers are playing it out, they're on different sides of the lane, and most likely won't be able to see each other, and they're just clearing it up. That Relevances needs that level before he goes in, but Zenith
Oh,
Blade is the
Zenith
bot lane,
Blade.
though.
Oh, immediate cleanse. Once again, more damage onto Hope. As long as they're trading, they can trade the cleanse. They can trade a cleanse. He still has a
Yeah.
flat. But as long as now that Hope is out of pots, they
Yeah.
can Atsikawa though. Are they gonna go for a dive on this? They are sussed out here. I don't think they're gonna continue it. But at least the presence is felt by Leo Martinez side. It's not like he has a lot of camps other than the frogs. He's just going there to clear it. So here, as long as they're trading back against Hope, they'll be fine. They'll be okay.
Man, they lost the exhaust during that fight. So later on, it could be easier for Asian Baby Boys to just farm it out. Lalo na wala na exhaust the side of the game. You can just go into it. So now, Asian Baby Boy slowing it down, and I think they're just waiting for the chance for them to fight back. Kasi most of their laners are really waiting for a level 6 before they go in for fights. Si Karen, he just needs the hero's entrance later on. And on that next objective, most likely, to get the hero's entrance, could be an objective on the side of the LSU Asian Baby Boys.
Yeah. I do think that this Drake is gonna come up before level 6, but
Yeah.
oh, that's not good.
Oh no!
Will they
Oh.
actually go for it? Okay,
They don't.
too risky, too risky. They don't have a lot of intel of where Yatsukawa is,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not really gonna go and risk that. The important thing here is that Hope, without any pots, they can't go in. There's just no
Yeah.
way unless Yatsukawa is there so that Hope sacrifice is okay. And here
Yeah.
you go. Ooh, look at that nasty trade there.
What?
Yeah,
The
that's it.
damage.
Precision protocol, man. With a Sheen, yeah, forces the recall here. So late. It's probably gonna be a little bit easier, since once he goes for the recall, he will have like probably like a leeching leader here against Ego. The Sheen, okay, just the blasting wand here. So the Sheen will still mean that the trades will be painful for Blade, but at least he can trade back a lot more here at this point. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, still looking at the bot lane. Yeah, the moment this Leon is below 33% HP,
Yeah.
the priority is now on Leo Markinosaki.
Yeah, I think at this point, Hiron, as long as hope is just there, not recalling, not resetting, it's just Asian Baby Boys are just gonna farm it out because they know that Hope wouldn't have the chance to go for a Zenith Blade. Because if ever he goes for a
Yeah,
Zenith Blade,
for a
he's
recall here.
definitely gonna get destroyed by this full HP bot lane. And now with the Infernal Drake up, nobody is gonna go for it because they don't really have the firepower. Yetsukawa doesn't have that much damage, and Relevance is really waiting for that power spike later on before they go in for that Infernal Drake. So yeah, maybe later on pa natin
Sending
makita yung
Scalp.
fights. Yeah.
They're sending CL bot side to try and push out Leo Markinosaki.
Ooh.
I think they already smelled it. They already smelled it
Oh,
coming,
no.
so they're gonna go for okay,
Usagi.
I don't think this is a dive. This is not a dive this time.
Yeah.
But at least they get priority here. They're gonna be the ones taking up the Infernal Drake most likely, especially since Relevance is around the top side here at that point. Yeah, they are gonna start this Drake if you see it at the edge of the screen there. So this is an early Infernal here for Ado. I think the LSU is fine giving it up. I don't think it's like super dandy. Super dandy, it's okay, but the Infernal there is definitely gonna be useful for that.
Yeah, if ever that was an Ocean Drake, I think Asian Baby Boys would probably get it more just because they needed that staying power in lane para makatagal sila makapag farm up
Mhm.
pa. That's
Oh, is
why
that a
they
blue
didn't
buff
really that's why they didn't really risk it. But the steal coming in from Relevance is really aggressive on
Wow.
display though.
This could be dangerous. It's gonna end
Yeah.
up as okay.
Oh,
So there's
no.
a hero's entrance. This is fine. This is probably just gonna end up as
Oh.
is it
Oh,
gonna
they
become
smited.
true
Oh,
relevant? This is a way early smite there from Yatsukawa. A little bit of a panic there. Lei
Sorry,
is
do
gonna
we-
come in. They do
Oh.
get the spin, but here comes the Hexing Ultimatum
What?
with the hook shot here and the hero's entrance
No.
for the knockup. Relevance is though still alive with a little bit of shielding, eating up the fruits to recover his HP, and that's a 2-4-0 there.
Yeah.
Yasukawa kind of panicked with a smite there.
Look at
That
this,
point.
everyone. When Relevances almost died during the fight, but with the sheer taunt and the stun, and Relevances with that clutch flash, or rather dodge on the other side, was able to survive, and they didn't give anything during that fight. I mean, the game just lost a lot. They lost the blue buff, they lost 2 members, and now Asian Baby Boys again are on the helm of the ship and they're controlling it. They're really steering it towards a rock, and I think Adu game is gonna crush really badly.
Yeah, DLSU knew the limits that they had their top side. Yeah, relevance is okay. I am a little bit ahead. It's pretty much even. We both have the same smites. I have Kieran's backup with the hero's entrance, so I'm okay here. And Ego, despite not having too big of a gap, it's an item diff, right? Sheen
Yep.
versus Blasting Wand is definitely going to be in favor of Ego, and they're confident that with Ego with a Hope shot, he can go for the
Ooh.
respawn, and that's exactly what happened here. Teleport coming in. Hope might be a
no,
little
Hope.
bit. Explosive has already been proc.
Oh.
Dodges away from
TP.
the con here. TP is going to come through, but is it actually a good choice here for Lei to go for the TP? Immediately gets exhausted.
Jump.
Up. Has to go for the Buster Shot to separate the team fight, and that is going to be close call here for Adamson. Both the teams do burn their teleport, but it was a lot more costly for Adamson than it was for DLSU.
Yeah, with that, Ego could just go in, but look at this, another fight, Iron.
They're gonna come through. Hope on 2v1 here. Jars is too low. He has to give up his Leona here at that point. At that point, they do also pick the kill up on Yatsukawa. Yatsukawa got a little too greedy to take on Karen, and Relevance has picked up the kill for him. Another 2-0 in favor of DLSU. Once again, they know their limits better than Adamson in this game. They're showing their experience, and Adamson has to look at it and okay, we kind of overcommitted there. What did we do wrong? And then adjust how they game, how they play that. Is it good? Oh yeah, it's gonna be easy kill here.
No, Leomark.
Moonlight Vigil there into from the Calibrum. Yeah, that's an easy kill at that range. And
Ooh, that was
tough.
Yeah, kind of tough for the side of the game. It's just that every time that Asian baby boys allocate resource whenever they go for the fight, they even isolated Yatsukawa during the fight, baited the flash just for them to get the kill. That's just too good plays coming in from the side of Asian baby boys. They're not really making that much of the macro mistakes. They're really good, man. It's just that at the game are trying to get something against Asian baby boys, but it's not really turning out really well for them.
Yeah, and like I said, this comp needs to be ahead. The Syndra will not have enough damage here to take out either Relevance's Ego, and definitely not Karen if he's 0-0 and 0. I think 0-0-0 is okay, but he's probably going to be 0-1 and 0 very, very soon as Relevance's goes in for immediate gank. Karen passes the ball over to this Diana to get that kill. And like I said, Syndra behind, not much of a champion. That's why it's kind of fallen out of favor in recent times. Ego here, able to just face off against Lei. Lei is 2 levels behind here, and Usagi is setting up for a dive. But 3v1 getting the direst treatment here, and he's going to go down. Ego doesn't even need to tank the turret for too long. And this is where it starts really falling apart for Adamson. When Usagi goes all the way top side, they're probably going to get first turret here since there's no one to catch the wave. This is going to be really tough here. At least Adamson is going to try and contest that with their own push onto first turret, but DLSU is going to pick up the gold here for this one for sure.
Man, I think the game is really teetering on the breaking point here. Just one mistake, they would implode for sure. And that is Asian baby boys just really putting them on that breaking point, and it's really hard. I think I'm seeing a chance for them to fight back. It's just they need to react. They're always forced on this reactive position just because Asian baby boys has the advantage. They always go and pull the triggers, and now Cloud Drake might be in favor of the side of Adu game, and Asian baby boys don't even really care on getting that objective.
And DLSU gives that. They get the Rift Herald. They can leverage this Rift Herald more than Adu can leverage the small bonus that the Cloud Break gives. And it's going to be very hard for Adamson to get back. Like, let's lay down how Adamson can get back here. They have Syndra, they have Leona. Those, I think, are the key champions for getting back in this game. They can try to go for pickoffs. Pickoffs against what? Pickoffs against Hero's Entrance? Not really an option. So right now, Adamson just needs to bait out a Hero's Entrance once it goes off cooldown and then go for another pickoff. But those are 2 hoops that are very, very narrow for you to get through.
Yeah, man. I mean, the side of Asian baby boys, they're really just taking up everything on the side of the game. But Lei wants to get a fight on Relevances.
I think Relevances is fine. 0-2 and 0, Leeching Leer, Blasting Wand. Gwen is not gonna kill Relevances at all. No, there's no way. Like, that's why it's so tough right now for Adamson. 9k gold behind now, or no, just 6k gold behind. But it's still definitely a big deficit here, and I'm pretty sure DLSU at this point is looking for ways. Yeah, they're split pushing bot with Kieran now that he's on Galio, and they're probably going to go for a mid lane here. Pressure mid lane, maybe get a Hero's Entrance dive, goes for the Zenith Blade onto Usagi. Immediate Glacial Fissure there, and that's going to be concussive blows onto Hope. Dealing a lot of damage here. Relevance goes for the Moonfall here, cutting him down. Jars is next on the chopping block, gonna get stunned, but able to rocket jump away. In comes Shelly, but in comes Ego. He's gonna go for the Hextech Ultimatum, picks up the kill on the back line. Can he get the revenge kill? So much damage onto Ciel. The perfect golden time here for Relevances means that he is gonna survive for now, and Relevance even picks up the kill onto Yatsukawa. Lays next on the chopping block. He's gonna get trapped here. Nice stun here from Ciel, but it's too little, too late. as he gives up his life for that. It's going to be the mid lane turret for DLSU. And probably a big lead here. Maybe even a lot more damage onto second tier. No, DLSU decides to back off. Save
Man,
the HP.
yeah, Asian baby boys, everyone, just look at how they play around the turret during that time. They just dance around, just bait the turret on hitting anyone, just using it in their advantage. Nobody even fell. The sheer confidence on the side of Asian baby boys, just because they have that big of an advantage. Now with this 8k gold lead, they're just gonna snowball it on the side of Adu game. So now, even the side of Adu game, they don't even have their first mythic items on their side. So Asian baby boys are just gonna really leverage that in their favor.
Yeah, only the Kraken Slayer right now for Jars, but even then, Tristana isn't a one mythic spike kind of champion, so it's gonna be a while before he's online. Meanwhile, DLS can continue doing the same thing, and now they can do it even better with the items that they have. They can go for another dive. Most likely, that's how they're gonna get another turret on their side. Is they either get a dive onto, yeah, they're probably just gonna dive onto mid lane or just go for bot lane here at that point, and it's going to be very difficult for Adu to actually match that. Ego holding the fort pretty well in this bot lane, making sure that Adu can't get any headway, get any waves pushing in this side. DLSU still in the driver's seat.
Yeah, DLSU just making use of that advantage and just putting pressure all over the map because they have a lot of turrets on their side and they're just making use of it. They're just playing around the map, waiting for the next objective to come in and not even give any kills to the side of Adu because they know even a 2v1 is not a good fight for the side of Adu game because they don't have much damage on their kit at this point in the game.
It's a little bit tough. And now, like I said, they just need to take down bot lane. Adu will have to give up the outer turret unless they want to get Dove. And actually, Ego just goes straight for it. Able to get, very nice, able to get the buster shot, but they're going to keep going in. The Zenith Blade is trying to sacrifice his life. In comes the Stormbreaker here. Leomark, though, but he's going to get knocked up from the hero's entrance, and in comes Relevance is from behind. It is going to be Lei trying to teleport, but once again, not really doing much this game. That's going to be a turret coming through. Teleport to go for the top side to split. And because he knows, even without the teleport, Ego doesn't need to teleport. He just needs to pressure top lane here.
Yeah.
Or actually take a second tier turret, and there's gonna be easy 2 turrets here, plus those 3 kills for DLSU Asian Baby Boys, 11,000 gold ahead. Adamson is feeling the pain, and I'm hoping that they're using this pain to learn here. Look at that.
Yeah, 4-4-0 during this fight because look
Relevance.
at that, man. They're really just positioning themselves really well during that fight. They really want to go for front to back every time that they go for a fight against Adu game. And that Leomark is just there on the back line, just hitting real hard against the members of Adu game. So now, Asian Baby Boys, look at that. Pretty casual, 12k gold lead, 15-0 on the board. Asian Baby Boys are ready to release their new album with this a lot of gold advantage here.
Yeah, they are just rolling in the dough right now. Ocean Drake is just a free bonus. It's going to be the next Rift Herald. They can start to really leverage that. Is Adu gonna have the audacity to try and contest that? I don't think so. It's just going to be DLSU pinging that while Adu stays in their lane, the wards defensively, and goes for their buffs. But DLSU, Ego's already looking for a kill here. Maybe Yatsukan will be the next victim. Maybe Jars will be. He does have the Buster Shot for the safety. Actually, yeah, Buster Shot off cooldown just now for the safety.
Oh, man. Yeah. And with this, yeah, man, it's been 17 minutes, and it's just so much gold lead. Almost close for the second items for the side of the LSU Asian Baby Boys. And we're not even at that point where the power spike for the Adu game would change the game that much. Because, you know, first item Kraken Slayer onto a Tristana is not that big. The Tristana comes in after he gets the second item, where he could just really rack up on those advantages after he gets the Phantom Dancer. But now, I'm not even sure if we're even gonna reach the point.
We're gonna try. Zenith Blade exhaust onto Leomark, but here comes Usagi. They can possibly get one here. Relevance just picks up the killer in the background. They do pick up one. They do pick up against Leomark at that point, but Relevance is here. Zenith Blade, but it's gonna be Relevances with a free in onto Yatsukawa and Hope. They are gonna try and deal as much damage as they can. Jars gets exhausted. No damage output from that. They get chased down by the rest of DLSU. Gonna get stunned. One more shot is gonna come through, and Winds of War blows him away. That's gonna be 1 kill for Adu in exchange for 3 kills by DLSU. that is not a good trade. But they tried. They tried. Like I said,
Yeah.
that's the only way they can get through with this kind of comp.
Yeah,
Pickoffs. They did get one pickoff.
yeah, they went for one pickoff. That's good shutdown goal, but bot lane,
Oh, Ego doesn't care.
yeah, he doesn't even deal much damage against.
He's
that
actually gonna go for a
pickoff.
dive
Okay.
here with his damage. Gonna come
Oh,
through. Riftmaker's not gonna be enough against Divine Sunderer. Plus the Tiamat on Ego. He can just go for that dive easy.
Yeah, he just destroyed there. And now, yeah, Asian Baby Boys just got the tower in the top lane, cementing more of their advantage, 13k gold lead. But Shell gonna go for a scatter. The weak though.
Okay.
No, not much of
Yeah,
a fight though.
that's a 0-3-0 Syndra for you. That's
Hmm.
why I said the draft. That's why I said the draft was lukewarm,
Yeah.
because this kind of draft with Leona and Syndra assumes that you will be ahead. And I will tell you, if you are a new team that assumes they will be ahead against a region champion, a metro champion like DLSU, that's a lot of it's the acidity and the opacity for me, man. It's the audacity to go for that. Because I'm sure Adu has a lot of potential, but it's just that the draft I feel is not in line with what they're facing up against. Like they
Yeah.
can probably go for a very defensive comp that can scale later, or go for a comp that can go even with the comps that DLSU likes. But this
Yeah.
comp is too much with Leona Syndra. It just assumes that you're ahead, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's a good comp in this kind of environment.
Yeah, I mean, the fight happened before the actual. I mean, before minute zero happened. So when it comes to the draft, that's where the fight starts, and that's where Asian Baby Boys just basically had the advantage during the whole time, and they're just using their win condition and making use of it. Just focus a goal on the side of
Yeah,
Asian Baby Boys.
focus.
Yeah, and that's why against Adu, I think now they know that next time fighting against a big team like Asian Baby Boys, they really need to be smart when it comes to the team composition because, yeah, as you said, picking up a Leona against Asian Baby Boys is really not good in this environment.
Hmm. It's got to be real tough indeed, and they're going to come knocking on to the inhibitor turrets of Adamson University. Once again, looking for a dive. Zenith Blade almost hitting, but I don't think that's a Zenith Blade they want to take here. Hope taking a lot of damage here, going to really ruffle the feathers of Adamson here. Meanwhile, Ego is just pushing bot side. He's fine. He's in his lane. He is living his life, his dream life here, pushing up with Baron-powered minions. Ego against Lei. Lei going to trade back. Ego going to hit him with like a Divine Thunder empowered precision protocol, and that's gonna leave the DLSU open to push in mid lane since they had to send two members to try and deal with Ego. Ego leaves a bot lane for the minions. They are gonna focus onto this inhibitor already. Adamson forward their hand here. There's gonna be Graviton, Moonlight Vigil here for the two. That's gonna be Ego jumping in with Hero's Entrance as well from Kieran, and they're gonna go for it. Taunt two members onto Yasukawa, takes out Pope as well. Relevance is in the back line. He is gonna take a lot of damage from the Buster shot, but they are able to finish him off. CL gets a really nice two-man stun there, gets a kill onto sorry, almost said Aiden, onto Usagi, and they are going to be able, but that's just one kill. Too little, too late here. Ego does not care. Ego's just looking for an opportunity to get the hook shot in, and meanwhile, Relevance is in Liu
One
Market
precision
already
protocol.
going for one precision protocol. Could do it. Yeah, gets struck in half there, sliced in half by the precision protocol there. Camille's got legs, and DLSU finishes off this 2-0 series for this quarterfinals. That means they'll be moving on to the semis next week.
Yeah, sliced like the freshly sharpened knife
Mhm.
inside of Asian Baby Boys. Man, they tried their best. I mean, I can see the potential from Adu game. They just really need to work on the composition, use the win condition in their favor, especially against a big team like Asian Baby Boys. Man, this team is slowly slowly gonna go for a comeback and gonna release an album soon. I'm gonna buy that for sure. So Asian Baby Boys just hit me up.
It's already platinum, baby.
Yeah. If you're gonna be going for the album, just hit me up. But Asian Baby Boys, man, they're really on point when it comes to the macro. And I'm really afraid, especially in the semifinals and grand finals. This team is really solid, especially with their plays.
At the collegiate level, I think Asian Baby Boys right now is a very strong contender. Like looking at the rest of the quarterfinals teams, it's gonna be a very tough call here. It's gonna be like let's see, we've got the Viridius Arcus on the other side, POB Ipsilos. I think the biggest things were now a lot of expectations on the other side of the quarterfinals, which is happening next week. It was going to be on Admu LG Hydra, and yeah, mostly on LG Hydra because we do have Mapua University and University of San Agustin. I think those are the two biggest questions for next week. But of
Yeah.
course, we're still going to have another best of three. Later we're going to have DLSU Viriditas Arcus versus POP Ipsilos. Going to be very very exciting. But here, going back to this matchup, yeah, I think Adu Game just needs to get their drafts in check because
Yeah.
those two drafts were okay. First draft was okay. Second draft was very very lukewarm. I do not like the second draft from them.
Yeah, honestly, Hiron, when it comes to the jungle picks, I'm kind of. Whenever I see the jungle picks from the two games from the side of Adu game, a Trundle and a Volibear at this point in the meta, I'm not really sure if they're gonna work really well. They really are gonna work on certain compositions, but when it comes to bruisers and fighters, I think they don't really work that well. That's why Yatsekawa didn't have the chance to shine during those fights.
Mhm.
If they have the Lee Sin on their pockets, as you said, probably could have been a better pick on their
Better
composition.
early game.
Yeah,
But it's still a lot. It's still a skill check. Lee Sin is a skill check jungler in this level of play. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping that they can polish up their gameplay and show us a better Adamson University game next season, probably because it's single. I think it's single elements, right,
Yep.
for our playoffs right here. But that's just the first best of three that we're gonna be giving you guys for today for the quarterfinals.
Mhm.
Later on, we're gonna have another DLSU team, Viriditas Arcus versus POP Ipsilos. After a very short break, we have been your shoutcasters. I'm Hyron. With me was Dash. I hope you stay and watch for the next best of three after a very, very short break. Don't go away.
Ang pagsisikap. Atin ang mundo. Globe. Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Everyday siya kung dumating. Kaya parang institusyon na siya dito sa area namin. Minsan, sobrang late na. Andun pa rin si Manong Fishball.
Ginagabi kayo, Manong!
Enrollment eh.
After some time, yung kariton ni Manong Fishball nadagdagan ng may bike.
Hanggang kabilang kalye, nagtitinda na rin kayo, Manong?
Pang notebook.
Sunod na taon, pati menu nadagdagan.
Nax, may squid balls na!
Mahal kasi ang lapis. May kikyo pa dyan.
Bilib na bilib ako kay Manong Fishball. Akalain mong yung maliit niyang kariton, napalaki niya ng ganun? Ang nagagawa nga naman ng pangarap ng isang magulang.
Manong, anong grade na ba yung anak nyo?
Tagal nang tapos sa mga bata. Ako naman ngayon.
Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Pero sa mga araw na yun, many years ago. Higit pa sa fishballs ang binigay niya sa akin. He taught me na walang di natutupad na pangarap sa taong handang magsumikap.
Dami niya na.
Panghapunan.
Pantoga.
Atin ang pangarap. Atin ang pagsisikap. Atin ang mundo. Globe. Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Everyday siya kung dumating. Kaya parang institusyon na siya dito sa area namin. Minsan, sobrang late na. Andun pa rin si Manong Fishball.
Ginagabi kayo, Manong.
Enrollment eh.
After some time, yung kariton ni Manong Fishball nadagdagan ng may bike.
Hanggang kabilang kalye, nagtitinda na rin kayo, Manong?
Pang notebook.
Sunod na taon, pati menu nadagdagan.
Nax, may squid balls na.
Mahal kasi ang lapis. May kikyo pa dyan.
Bilib na bilib ako kay Manong Fishball. Akalain mong yung maliit niyang kariton, napalaki niya ng ganun? Ang nagagawa nga naman ng pangarap ng isang magulang.
Manong, anong grade na ba yung anak nyo?
Tagal nang tapos sa mga bata. Ako naman ngayon.
Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Pero sa mga araw na yun, many years ago, higit pa sa fishballs ang binigay niya sa akin. He taught me na walang di natutupad na pangarap sa taong handang magsumikap.
Dami niya na.
Panghapunan.
Pantoga.
Atin ang pangarap. Atin ang pagsisikap. Atin ang mundo. Globe. Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Everyday siya kung dumating. Kaya parang institusyon na siya dito sa area namin. Minsan, sobrang late na. Andun pa rin si Manong Fishball.
Ginagabi kayo, Manong!
Enrollment eh.
After some time, yung kariton ni Manong Fishball nadagdagan ng may bike.
Hanggang kabilang kalye, nagtitinda na rin kayo, Manong?
Pang notebook.
Sunod na taon, pati menu nadagdagan.
Nax, may squid balls na!
Mahal kasi ang lapis. May kikyaw pa dyan.
Bilib na bilib ako kay Manong Fishball. Akalain mong yung maliit niyang kariton, napalaki niya ng ganun? Ang nagagawa nga naman ng pangarap ng isang magulang.
Manong, anong grade na ba yung anak nyo?
Tagal nang tapos sa mga bata. Ako naman ngayon.
Manong Fishball ang tawag sa kanya. Pero sa mga araw na yun, many years ago, higit pa sa fishballs ang binigay niya sa akin. He taught me na walang di natutupad na pangarap sa taong handang magsumikap.
Dami niya na.
Panghapunan.
Pantoga.
Atin ang pangarap. Atin ang pagsisikap. Atin ang mundo. Globe.
And welcome back, everyone, to the third season of the National Campus Open featuring League of Legends. The top collegiate League of Legends teams in the Philippines are all here competing for a prize pool of 150,000 pesos, the right to call themselves the best in the country, and scholarships. I'm Dash, and with me here is Hyron, and we'll be your shoutcasters for today's matches.
And I'm so excited for this second best of three on this quarterfinals. It's going to be Viridius Arcos from De La Salle University versus Ipsilos from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines here. And the reason why I'm so excited is because it's been a season since the Viridius Arcos roster is kind of solidified, right? After losing Duckman, who is now Kieran, losing Leo Mark as well.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of struggled in the previous season of NCO, but now they've had an entire NCO season to train, mesh together really as a group of friends, a team. And I'm hoping that they can really give us a good performance here. Meanwhile, we've got Ipsilos, who is another new team, but they've been dominating the Alliance qualifiers last week.
Yeah, together with LG Hydra, they have been dominating it, and they were able to defeat the likes of Tele Tigers and even Viridius Arcos during their run for the qualifiers. And this just shows that they're on fire as a team. And I just want to see how they'll pair up with each other, especially against LG Hydra, who won the other side of the bracket, if ever they go into the grand finals against them. So now it's going to be a challenge also for Viridius Arcos, because now we know that they have been able to put Exos Haribons on the lower brackets during the qualifiers, and that just says a lot for Viridius Arcos as a team.
And when they faced each other, Ipsilos and Viridius Arcos in a best of one during the qualifiers, they did beat them 1-0.
Yeah,
but that's a best of one. It's going to be an entirely different format here with best of three, entirely different game here for these squads. And that will be the real test here on whether Ipsilos can really face off against Viridius Arcos, and the test for Viridius Arcos' roster on whether they can really give the same performance as they could when they had Leo Mark and Kieran on the roster. So now is like the real test for these teams in this NCO Season 3 playoffs.
Yeah, I just wish that Way will be able to show us a bit
Hmm.
more on their
Hmm.
composition because Viridis, Arcos, and Ipsilas, we all know it starts with the composition. And I just hope they would be able to bring out a lot of those meta champions and their comfort picks during this whole series. And now we all know it's a best of three, and it's not that big if you win the first one because it's still easy to come back. So whoever loses the first one, they still have a chance. They need to take notes and find out what they need to fix before they go in for game two.
Yeah, super excited for this next best of three. And of course, NCO Season 3 would not be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. NCO Season 3 is powered by Globe Telecom and Logitech G. If you're looking to supercharge your gaming setup so you can hashtag keep playing, check out Logitech's amazing gaming gear at logitech.acadarena.com now.
Yeah, and also check out everyone. Get a chance to participate in AcadArena's major tournaments, win bragging rights and exciting prizes from our partner brands. Visit app.acadarena.com. Go through the registration process, and you're good to go. And also, if you want to bring esports to your school, the AcadArena Alliance program is here for you. Alliance members clubs gets access to our exclusive tournaments, mentorships, events, support, and of course, the Globe Esports Merit Scholarship. Learn how to join the Alliance today at acadarena.com/alliance. And the last but not the least, hit the whoa with Acad Arena on TikTok. Make sure to follow at
Mhm.
Acad Arena. And if you're part of our first 1,000 followers, you'll get a chance to win some of our weekly giveaways. Post or tweet the hashtag AA TikTok giveaway to make your entry count.
Yeah, so to all of you TikTokerists out there, make sure to follow the AcadArena TikTok right there. And of course, I think the most important thing here is like if you want that campus esports in your university, it's best to go with the Alliance program because,
Yeah.
for example, here in NCO, we have 3 slots for Alliance schools, for Alliance organizations, and only 2 slots for the open qualifiers there. So there's already that you have a better chance of getting in if you are part of the Alliance program, not to mention all the other benefits as well. We'll give you event support. Let's say if you have a tournament in your own university, if you have other like gaming and esports related events as well, you'll get that as well. And of course, if you're having a little bit of trouble proving to your school admin that esports is a thing and esports is something healthy that can be an extracurricular to our students, then AcadArena's Alliance program will help you in that regard as well. But yeah, going back, yeah, Viridis Arcus as an alliance organization right there, Ipsilos from POP as well as part of a school with a lot of history. So, um, but definitely this is going to be next game is going to be a very very tough one.
Yeah, it's not a fight between the
Mhm.
champions of the last season. It's a battle between the Alliance qualifiers and the people from the Open qualifiers. So this could just set apart who's better, who has the better chance, who had the more experience points during the fights. And now, man, they could just show it here. Who allocated the better skill points? And during the draft, we would see it more against Viridis Arcus and Ipsilos. So now we can see that these teams are both strong teams. They have been fighting it out. They have shown, even the open qualifiers and alliance qualifiers, they showed that they're really solid teams.
Definitely. And you have to be of a certain caliber already to go through all of those best of one double elims going up to the qualifiers leading up to the playoffs. But then you have to be of a different kind of breed, to be able to survive the playoffs, which is a much more competitive environment where all the top teams are best of threes, best of fives when it comes to the grand finals. This is a totally different environment than most of our players that haven't had really a lot of NCO or generally tournament experience
Yeah.
would be used to. So this is a good opportunity for them to prove their skills as well as continue honing those skills to be more competitive in the future.
Yeah, what I'd like to see here, Hiron, is that Ipsilos and Viridis Arcus, it's basically the same like last game.
Mhm,
A veteran for the
mhm,
Alliance and also a new upcoming team, which is Ipsilos. It's like the David versus Goliath again
mhm,
on this one. And I think Ipsilos, even though that they're really really new to the Alliance, it's okay because they could
mhm.
really show that power. They could
Yeah.
show that they have the potential to fight against the veterans of the Alliance, especially against Viridis Arcus, which has been here for really long now. So they
Yeah.
can show, maybe they can show us some bit of a change. They can show some comfort picks. Maybe
Mhm.
there's a specialist on their side. So I'm kind of really excited on what they're gonna bring.
Hmm. One player to watch here in the side of Ipsilos is Sainted. I'll confirm how to properly pronounce that as well, because I do believe that he is from West Point Esports, which is an organization that participates in a lot of
Oh,
like local tournaments as well. So maybe he's a player to watch, and he is a mid laner, and a lot of mid laners in collegiate historically have been very, very like powerful star players. So maybe Sainted is that guy for this PUP's team.
yeah, man. If ever he shows that up, especially right now on the meta with the mid lane champions, there's a lot of potential to actually carry the game. That's why
Mhm.
if ever Sinted in the side of Ipsilos would show up, bring out a really strong champion on his side, especially a comfort or a pocket pick, British Arcus might be up for a really surprising matchup here.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to see, because that also means that Sainted and possibly the other members of Ipsilos here do have that tournament experience, which means this kind of environment isn't gonna be new to them, which means it's gonna be a much closer fight here as well. So Trundle is gonna be the first ban here on the side of Ipsilos. In the jungle, it's so disruptive. That's why it's gonna be a little bit nerfed. The slow from the
Mhm.
pillar is going to get nerfed, but I don't really think that's what's gating players that are fighting against Trundle. It's the subjugate as well that really locks out a lot of options in terms of comp. LeBlanc straight up banned, and that does confirm that the
Yeah.
Ipsilos mid laner is someone that you have to watch.
Yeah, if ever LeBlanc gets banned, you know that they're gonna be banning out his champions. And now at least Viridis Arcos just went in and researched the mid laners. At least now, if ever they ban this really good champions against the side of Ipsilos, they have more to bring out. Even though that a lot of pocket picks are getting bring out, the other members could step up and use their own pocket picks against Viridis Arcos.
Kennen here is a pretty interesting pickup. It has seen some presence in the highest levels of play, but of course Ziggs. I don't think there's any doubt that Ziggs is probably going to get banned in a lot of our matches. But the Kennen, I feel, can be quite of a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
Kennen is gated by a few enemy items on the opposing side as well, so maybe we'll see that. Maybe we won't see that here. Of course, we're not going to see that. But maybe in the other games of this match, it might be
Yeah.
left open depending on how game one goes. Viego straight up bans. A lot of focus on the jungler side here against Viridius Arcus.
Yeah, I think you know what Ipsilos is going for here. If
Mhm.
they're banning out these champions, especially for the jungler, they don't want anyone sticking to the. I mean, they don't want anyone to stop their sticking power. That's why Kennen has
Mhm.
been banned here. So if Ipsilos really is going for this, I think a Shin Zhao could probably go in if Viridis Arcus doesn't ban that out.
Yeah, Lulut's a little bit more on the support side, which does tell us that they want that bot lane to be both very safe from the poke of that Lulu, and as well just safe from getting dove in terms of the utility there as well. But that does mean that I do like priority picking junglers in this
Uh huh.
patch right now. Xin
Yeah.
Zhao is left open. Excuse me, that's
Yeah.
definitely
There
something
you
that they can
go.
bring. There we go. Mhm.
Yeah,
Just
getting picked up. And actually, as you were saying, Hyron, it's a really strong pickup every
Mhm.
time. You won't go wrong with a Shinzao first pick because he just gives so much. Even the ulti could
Yeah.
really help you out at the early phases of the game. That's why it cancels out a lot of damage. And most of the time, there's a lot of bruisers also on the meta. That's why Shinzao really thrives on those picks.
It's just a very versatile survive. There's survivability, there's damage, there's a little bit of utility. I think Jarvan. Okay, Jarvan's a pretty good choice here considering everything else. Like if Viego is banned, Trundle is banned. Jarvan does have a pretty good presence as well. Might not be the Lee Sin that they're looking for. They're really looking for that hard lockdown with the Cataclysm combined with the Ash. That's gonna be a lot of like initiation potential here from Viridis Arcus. It's going to be very hard even with the Shinjao. So if they're doing this locking, there's a pretty good swing here from the red side of Viridis Arcus to pick up both the Jarvan and the Ash right here. Thresh is going to get left open. And Thresh, if you're a support player, you play Thresh. If you don't play Thresh, you're probably not a support player at all. And
Right.
Senti here, let's see what he's gonna be bringing here. Probably they might be saving Senti from last year, so he's not counterpicked,
Uh
but they
huh.
could just get something from mid lane here, like a TF or a Rise, to
Varus
make
is
things
open.
Varus is
Yeah.
also open for the marksman side. Now that Viridius Arcus locked in their own marksman, they could definitely lock it in here. The jungler also, but I don't want to pick Varus up against. I don't want to pick Varus against Jarva.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really hard.
Yeah.
But I really love
When?
the picks coming in from the side of Viridis Arcus Hiron because it's a it's a composition that I think LG would bring out, especially with the Ash right here. That is
Yeah.
a really very defensive guy. That's why,
Now that you mention it,
yeah,
it
right? That's
does
why,
feel like a very LG higher way to pick up and mark a bot lane like Braum Ash.
yeah,
So I guess I guess the Lasallians are kind of yoinking a little bit from the from the Ateneans or
yeah.
Atenistas if you prefer that. But I do like it. I
Mhm.
love Ash with Braum here. I think they just have to make sure that this Ash can enable the rest of the team by not immediately getting dove. And I think the Jarvan and the Braum can do that even with the Thresh and Xinjiao instead of Ipsilos. The Gwen
Mhm.
is gonna make it's gonna have a very hard time diving in. They're gonna have to front to back with the Gwen here. Aphelios being locked away. I like the ban from Viridis Arcus keeping their bot lane steady.
They just really want a lot of CC on the side of Viridis Arcus if they just throw it out, especially on a very attacker-sided composition. I mean, fighter-sided composition on the side of Ipsilos. It could be a chance for them because they can't bring out that damage if they're CC'd, right?
Yeah.
So if Viridis Arcus just goes in with the last picks that has some damage to couple it with the CCs that they have with these first three picks, that could be a solid
Mhm.
composition on their side.
Yeah, I like the Camille ban here. The question is, are they gonna come? It does Defile play the Irelia well in this patch, and that's really the big question of whether Ipsilos will ban that Camille. Because I think Gwen right now with the comp that they have, Thresh and Xinjiao are pretty good in the jungle, which means the most vulnerable lanes here are gonna either be mid lane or top lane. With the Gwen, I think top lane Gwen is a lot more vulnerable. That's why they're banning out Camille. The Aurelia could be a ban out, but no, it's going to be the Galio. So making sure that Centid can actually roam without getting a fast follow up from the hero's entrance. So that does mean that they're really trying to defend the top lane here. Because if you ban Galio, you're also helping your own top lane.
Oh man, this is very if they go for this Gnar on the top side, they really have a lot of setups to work with.
Mhm.
And it could be possible the Cataclysm to the Gnar is a really
Mhm.
big combo.
Nice dunk.
If you pull it up, Ipsilos would have a hard time to regroup after that. So Ipsilos, they need to give Synthete something like something that has a really good potential to
Mhm.
carry the team, especially on those times that this melee champions would get CC locked by Viridis Arcus.
TF is open. If they're banning out the Galio, they might be looking to pick up a TF so they can really. Okay,
Oh,
Karma,
really?
Karma works. I mean, we saw how good Karma is. Karma's decent wave clear, good survivability, a lot of utility. That means, in the hands of a good mid laner, like say a Kieran or a Centid, that they can definitely take priority mid lane and then start roaming and getting those objectives out. Tristana, Jinx, they, I think Jinx got a good bump in. Okay, no, that's in 11.18.
Really?
Jinx
They
here.
went in for the Jinx. I
I
mean,
think
Jinx has a lot of range, but with the
yes.
meta
I'm
on
thinking.
on Ash having the Wits and the Immortal Shield Bow, man, I think the DPS is better. What? They went in for
Jinx.
Izumi getting the Zed in the mid lane. That could possibly be
So
very
it's
big for
so
Viridis
is it
Arcus.
Centipede? Okay, it's definitely gonna be Centipede on the card. So Zed here is a very big challenge here against Senti. The
Yep.
fact that they're locking this in, but I think it's okay with the Ash on the marksman side. They're kind of lacking in like sheer damage, right? I
Yeah.
do think that the Zed does have that to really back that damage up, which means with this entire comp that you see here with Ash, Braum, Zed, with Zed, this is a team that wants to win 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, they really want to snowball their advantage again. Because if they go for the late game against Ipsilos, having a Jinx, having a Gwen in the late game with the help of a Karma, man, that's really hard. You can't even touch the Jinx just because of the sheer speed that Syntid could give the team. So
There's
they really want to go for really fast fights, get out, then get objectives after.
yeah, there's a lot of I do think, yeah, that's probably their coach, right? That went out of the Discord and the face cams.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, then since they're already done with draft, coach goes out now that it's game time. But yeah, I'm liking this comp here. Actually, with the addition of that Zed, the two things that stand out to me here are the Zed and the Jinx that
Mhm.
kind of like throw me off.
Yeah.
With this entire comp in mind, I do like Ipsilos's draft a little bit more. The Jinx bothers me a lot less than the Zed. It's really that means there's a lot of pressure on Izumi's hands, and shoulders rather, on how he can make this Zed work.
Hmm. I'm thinking higher on just
Mhm,
because they don't have a really great front line on the side of Ipsilos.
mhm,
I think Zed works.
mhm.
Zed
Yeah, yeah.
is on the composition that is very comfortable for him. He could just really
Mhm,
go in without getting punished by a tank that could really have a hard time, especially against a Zed. Zed really doesn't have a can't even fight against tanks, honestly.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
with this, I think it's good.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why it's a little bit close to me. But I'm a sucker for Karma Mid is the thing, and Thresh. Karma
Yeah.
Mid and Thresh will make me like most likely like your comp here. And I do think that with the shields and the peel from Whip, it's gonna be a lot harder for Izumo to get in, despite not having like a front line that can lock down the Zed and fight him out. And it's really going to depend a lot on Eternal and Rian here on whether they can get in, get those kills for their for Eternal. It's the mid laner, and for Rian, it's probably going to be either top lane or bot lane.
Different win conditions on both of our
Hmm.
teams because Viridis
Definitely.
Arcos just really want to go for a really easy pick off. Then Ipsilos is gonna go for those long drag on fights just because they have the karma. The karma
Hmm.
helps a lot during those fights, and that shielding and that sheer speed, coupled it with a Shinzao and a Gwen, that could stick out for long fights, especially with the Conqueror. Man, Viridis Arcos to really need to get their crosshair placements out, and if they
Hmm.
get the CC on the right targets, Ipsilos could be out for their money here, even though that
Hmm.
they have the better composition compared to Viridis Arcas.
Hmm. I think the most valuable resource here for Ipsilos is Rubiger's Flash.
Yep.
That there's also a little bit of insurance here with the lantern,
Yep.
but the flash is like on demand, and I think that's definitely the resource that Viridian Arcus has to attack. Cut off the supply line of that flash, force the flash of a Rubiker, and then go for a play with Defile and Eternal. I think that's the way to go here if they want to lock down that Jinx, and I think that's their best shot at getting that really good team fight going on for them.
Yeah, but what's really hard about a Jinx hard on especially on this patch is that Jinx really gets ahead or really gets stronger after item 3. Not like what is gonna happen on the side of DLSU where they have the Ash that after the wits end, the Ash is good. The Ash has some damage, at least some magic damage to help him out. After the Ginsu Rage Blade, they have a couple of ability damage on their side, which is gonna be good. Even though that they have a lot of AD, with the Wits End to the Ginsu's Rage Blade on the meta right now on Ash, that could be something really good.
Mhm.
That could really deal some damage on the side of DLSU.
Mhm. So it's really about which team is able to play towards their win conditions there and
Yeah.
execute their way towards that as well. So now we're just waiting for the game between PUP Ipsilos and DLSU Videos Arcus to start. I do believe that we're only live on Facebook right now, not on Twitch. And I do believe we have a co-host. We're being co-streamed by Yuko PH. So check out her co-stream as well if you want to see her thoughts on what's happening in the game as well. On top of our thoughts, the casters. So just check that out as well. And going into this next best of three, this isn't the quarterfinals. I mean, this is a quarterfinals, but this isn't the end of it after this best of three, because we're gonna have another four teams next week in the quarterfinals for September 18. And then after that, the week after that's gonna be the semi. So I'm super excited for this season of NCO and Viridis Arcus. We'll see if the roster has meshed together after that season from previous season, and for Ipsilos and whether they can really prove themselves on the Rift here.
Man, what I'm really afraid of on the semifinals is if ever DLSU Viridis Arcus wins this, they're gonna be
Mhm.
fighting it out with Asian baby boys. So DLSU versus DLSU
Yeah.
on that next one. So
Mhm. It's a
it's
lot
gonna
of
be
storylines going
yeah,
through, right?
yeah.
Because we do know that the mages are also on the other side of the
Right,
quarterfinals,
right.
which means they would want to fight Asian baby boys in a grand final. So that's a lot of like multiple timelines here where there's a lot of rich storylines happening. And that's why we love collegiate esports so much and esports in general. Now that we've loaded onto the Rift here, PUP Ipsilos versus DLSU Viriditas Arcus is going to be a very, very nice way to start off this best of three.
Ooh, they're gonna start it really, really rough here because what they want to happen is for both of the junglers to go on the top side, wait for them, and
Mhm,
allocate resource onto the bot lane. Because in this team composition, I think it's okay
mhm.
to gank a lot in the bot lane just
Oh,
because
definitely.
it's really hard to make this bot lane really effective just because it's a Jinx and a Nash. But
Mhm,
they have a lot of CC, so it might be possible
mhm.
that they can rack up a lot of skills on the bot side.
Yeah, I think pre six, those traps from Rubiker are definitely going to be a good factor here. And on top of just having a Thresh, Thresh great all around, can
Yep.
engage and disengage whatever he wants. So I think pre six, if Rian can maybe get like a trap out with Rubiker, get the knock up with a 3 talent strike, get the hook and the play with Whip, I think it's going to be a very nice gank there. But post six, Apollo and Ventus are gonna have a great time there. Maybe get a dive in. Izumi roams from mid. Maybe Eternal goes for the support as
Look
well.
at this. They're not even afraid in the bot lane. They
Mhm.
really know that they have an advantage against this team composition in the bot lane, especially with the concussive blows on the Braum early in the game. Coupled it with the slow on Apollo,
Mhm.
man, that's gonna be easy for them to get some kills if they want to.
Yeah, I think level one is when you really, especially with the Jinx marksman, level one is what you want to leverage against a Thresh before he gets the full Flay Death Sentence combo here. I think that's what Ventus and Apollo are going for. Get the early poke out against Rubiker. Rubiker can't really fight back. Needs forced to go onto the Rockets here. So yeah, that's definitely the game plan for this one. Push Book
Man,
out, make sure that they're ahead in this laning phase, and just go from there. Make sure that by level 2, level 3, they back off a little bit because that's when the threat goes online.
yeah, I really love the setups also for junglers here. They are really just on the bot lane though, they're really going for a fight. They got the death sentence, but not the right target. Ventus is gonna get there. And now low in HP. I thought it was the side of PUP getting the
Oh, but
advantage. But Eternal
Eternal!
is here. He has a flag and drag, and now low in HP. Gonna force a flash and a heal. And now DLSU has the advantage. If they go for a regank, that could be
Ooh,
a chance for them to fight back here on DLSU side.
that's pretty big. I think
Got the flash.
I think that actually means that QP is a little bit ahead there, even with the heal being down with Defile when Winter
Oh,
facing it off.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, Define on the top side, getting a bit of a disadvantage. But as I said, they can go for a regank. They can
I go
even go for a
yeah.
dive on the side of Eternal if they want to. They
Are they
have the
gonna go
flag and
for it?
drag on their side. They're gonna go for it, and
Uh-oh.
that is gonna be a
No!
hit. And the cancel for the flag and drag, almost getting something. Syntheed is here. Eternal can't go anywhere. He doesn't have the flash, and
Oh,
that is a
no.
first blood for the side of PUP. But Izumi answers back with one more. The flash comes in, and here comes the fight. Syntheed is gonna be the target. Apollo goes in with a slow, but there is the heal coming from the side of Syntheed.
More shots.
Flash comes in. There might be another Q on Syntheed, but they're gonna
Oh,
back away.
is he gonna get the excited
Might
reset?
go right here. Oh no, they didn't get the excited reset, but here comes the fray. Defile is going in for the TP, but I think that's not good. They're really, really going for TPs on the bot side. Apollo might be the next target, and here it comes. That
Uh-oh.
is gonna be one dodge coming in from Winter, and Apollo is gonna be the target. That is the snip, snip, snip. Gonna be able to get the kill. Defile is the next target. No
Eternal.
Meganar for you, buddy, but Winter is gonna go happy. Gonna go back away with 2 for 1 in favor of PUP.
Yeah, let's break that down, right? Yeah, I love the perfect timing on the play there. And I love the death sentence. The death sentence basically means that Eternal's like dive is like done. It's already
Yeah.
done before it even started. And then the flay to deny the flag and drag, that was what really did it for them. And I was hoping, yeah, even if they could go for a regank, it's still very hard because that's a Thresh. You don't
Yep.
just dive a Thresh
Yeah.
when pre-level 6. And even then, at level 6 is going to be dangerous. That's why I said that, yeah, I think even with the flash being burned at Apollo, I think it's in PUP's favor, that trade earlier. And then
Yeah.
after that, that just proves it. When they go for the dive and then Whipfif just goes monster mode on his CC to keep Eternal from escaping.
Yeah, man, even in the rotations here, Rian now has an advantage over Eternal with a lot of jungle camps. And you know, if you give a Shinzao an advantage early in the game, that is gonna go real bad. But what's good here is that Eternal is going in for a Cloud Drake push here. And even though that it's not a really big Drake, it's still okay. At least DLSU is getting some advantage out of that kills that they gave against PUP.
Yeah, that's really what they want here. All those small. Oh, that was close. If that was stolen by a death sentence, that would have been a tilter right there.
True.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing that it didn't happen on the LSU side, but now at least it's a bit equal for this junglers. And now, even though Eternal lost a lot of jungle camps, they got the Cloud Drake. It was a bit good for the side of the LSU.
Yeah, I think Cloud Drake is pretty advantageous for DLSU here. They have a lot of big ultis on there. Actually, all
Right.
their ultis are very, very important for this. It's just a little sad for them that it's not a Cloud Rift, which
Yep.
would mean they can get multiple stacks of that. But if it's going to be an Infernal Rift later, depending on what the second Drake is, it's going to be a 50-50 between two things. I think Mountain Rift would be very disadvantageous to them unless they're the ones who get it. But let's see, let's focus on the now here. PUP, it's not a huge lead here because Senti does have the gold, but it's not really a carry. Izumi got a kill there in the backside, so that's advantageous to them. I think the biggest thing that they can leverage here is probably Winter on the top side, but Defile with the matchup range versus melee, he's really making the most of that before Winter can go for an all-in here.
Yeah, hide on. While we're talking about Drakes, I think for now during the meta, Mountain Drake is the least effective on most of them, just because of the fact that not much of them goes for resistances really. I mean, it stacks up, but with the Bruiser Fighter meta, I think it's not really that good, especially for the team compositions that we have right now. So what they wanted is if ever the Infernal Drake would come up, that is the Drake that they go for contesting for both of the teams.
Okay, and in this top side with the melee Nar, Megan, actually using the ult all the way.
Yeah.
And with the junglers right around the corner, using that Meganar, I think is a signal for both of these junglers. Okay, let's back off. For Eternal, it's like, okay, you don't have Meganar anymore. I'm getting out of here. And for Rian, it's like, okay, you're too low. I don't want to get into a 2v2 right now. So both of them do back off. Just get ready for Rift Herald. That's going to be the next big objective. If Winter can go for regen, it's going to be hard since he doesn't have the Leeching Leer. Has to go for the Cloth Armor at that point. But I do think they have control over this. And Izumi hasn't really found an opportunity to get another kill or even get poke onto Centids here, so it's probably just going to be Rift Herald for PUP here with Eternal all the way bot side. He's really going to have to leverage like a gank bot lane here, but it's going to be hard because Rubiker has Flash Heal ready.
Yeah, and if ever they leverage it on the bot lane, at least they're gonna be helping out Rubiker early on, and that's what they want to happen. Help out Rubiker, get her on the early damage. If ever he gets a Kraken Slayer first, that could be good for the team. But now, PUP Ipsilos still has a bit of an advantage against the LSU, especially when it comes to the team fight. So the LSU needs to be smart, but here comes the Death Mark onto Centid with the Ignite, probably gonna pop, and Izumi gets another kill on mid lane.
That's what he needs. That initial kill got him the Serrated Dirt plus those two long swords. And that's just enough. With Centid not only having a Kindle Gem and having to go for the Lucidity Boots here, that means there's not a lot of defensive stats. Even with Mantra Shield or the heal from Renewal, it's not going to be enough. And Izumi getting that kill means that he can, once he gets back, it's probably going to be another component to Duskblade, probably going to have the Caulfield's Warhammer already, which means he's going to have a great time here as long as he can get the priority.
Yeah, man, if he really gets the priority targets, Izumi would be really scary because later on in the game he could just pop out Rubiker, even though that I was saying that they need to put in resources onto Rubiker to get more damage. But if Rubiker is not seen on the map and Izumi is just picking him up every time, that just lowers the fighting power of PUP.
Because they're really all-inning on his damage here later in the game. Because
Oh no.
I think later it's going to be much harder for I Prefer Winter to get his damage out against Defile and Eternal. And it's going to have to depend a lot on him being with Rian to be able to brawl it out. And for DLSU, they might just skip that and opt to take down Rubiker with Izumi here. And maybe even Eternal jumping to make sure to force escapes from Rubiker so that Izumi can get the alley-oop.
At least they have something to push them back. Rian with the ultimate could actually help out against the LSUs. Most of them are diving on this composition, so at least Rian could help out the backline, just go in. If as you said, if they go for the targets, that might not be helpful. They should just go for front to back if they want to win against LSU because they have more staying power against them. So they just need to
Ocean
really
Drake.
go for that objective. But as you said, Ocean Drake would be really helpful for the side of DLSU because if they do, they have more staying power in lane. They can go for more pressure against the squad of Ipsilos.
Yeah, and Viridius Arcos here, they're taking a little bit of damage here from the Ocean Drake. Ventus and Eternal taking the brunt of it, but their finishing is quite fast. I mean, Izumi, okay, they do get stolen here by the Ocean Drake. Uh-oh, Dash.
They go in for the Cataclysm onto the backline. He will be able to get one, but still not enough. But Izumi is there. Going on to Rubiker, might be able to pop him out. Not even enough, but there you go. Ipsilos is going for the fight. They don't have much damage on their side, so Rubiker is just going for a lot of resets and it's really fast, going crazy with the damage. But here you go. Defiler is trying to get something out of it, but still, Rubiker was able to get the kill. The last one standing, Defiler is going in, but never mind that because he is going to fall down because that is Ipsilos really doing a lot of damage with their team composition.
Oh man, the steal there was big for them. And I think, yeah, the Cataclysm there really locked out Sentient and Rubiker a while from the fight. But the rest, while that was happening, DLSU was kind of like lazing around the river, not really leveraging the fact that these marksman was out of that fight. And they took a lot of, that's because they took a lot of damage from I Prefer Winter there. If you saw the needlework going through like 3 members of DLSU, that's why they were so scared of committing further while Izumi was heckling Rubiker and Whipra. And without a kill on Rubiker by Izumi, it was very difficult for them to continue that team fight in their favor.
Man, I was expecting for Izumi to pop Rubiker during that time because he had a lot of time. Nobody was on his face during the time that he used the death mark, but still, it's not enough for them to kill out Rubiker. And now, they know. They know that Ipsilos has the advantage with the Immortal Shield Bow. At least that helps out Rubiker when it comes to the fight. So now, the LSU, they need to find a way to make Izumi effective because if not, this is just gonna snowball out of their way and Izumi would be out of commission every fight.
Izumi needs to get a kill here. That's the redemption for this assassin.
Yeah.
Is to get at least one kill. Doesn't matter on who it is and how he gets it. He could get it from a team fight 4v4. He could get it by 2v1ing I Prefer Winter topside. What matters is for him to be able to get a kill before he falls off, right? Like,
Yeah.
the thing is, Winter has mostly a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice
The Deathmark
fight
comes
there.
in, but Rubiker would be trying his best, but the Immortal
The
Shield goes to the shield. It's too much. And Izumi again falls down. He tried his best, man. We saw it, but it wasn't enough.
POP smelled it. POP smelled. Okay, Izumi's probably gonna be looking for a kill. He might push in mid. Either he tries to solo kill Sentient here or pushes in mid to get high in Winter. But
Another one. Ventus is going to be the target.
That's
Would
Cataclysm.
be happening. Eternal would be able to get one, but Ventus is not going to be the target. Going to be able to get the trade. Eternal is not dealing a lot of damage with Apollo here, so at least they got a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane.
Xinjiao, balanced champion, by the way. You saw how long he survived under turret
He was just there, man.
Yeah, you look at the replay here, and there was actually a very nice Cataclysm to start here, but the thing is, in the end, it's still a 3v4. They do get the early kill here on Woof, but the fact that he's needed to use a lot of their damage on Woof meant that they couldn't deal the rest of their damage against Rian and Rudiker. And, you know, Xinjiao balanced champion, able to survive that long with a Gore Drinker, with his natural healing as well. You bet he had potions sticking during that fight as well. So, another win here. And yeah, like I said, they knew that Izumi wanted to get a kill, so they just went for it.
Yeah, they just really went for the fight. But now, man, this is the chance. I mean, this is the time that Izumi is slowly falling off onto the damage department, just because Sentient is always there to shield them out. If they go for the target onto Rubiker, a lot of shield is gonna go in his favor, and you're not gonna be effective. So I think Izumi needs to find another target. Because if it goes for Rubiker, there's 2 shields that's gonna happen. And that is not the most effective way of using the set.
You could go for Rian or Winter, but they do have plated steel caps right there, so they have a little bit of resistance against Izumi, even with the Dust Blade. It's gonna be a little bit harder to take them down. So yeah, They could go for I Prefer Winter or Rian, but that's like a consolation prize to the Z here. I do think that they have to wait it out. Like
Hmm.
maybe get a good initiation with the crystal arrow, the magic
Yeah.
crystal arrow here. After that, Eternal gives off his damage. Apollo deals a little bit of DPS, Defile as well, and then Izumi can go in for a kill.
Yeah.
I think it's much too difficult for Izumi to go for a kill preemptive, like
Yep.
go for a kill onto Rubiker before the fight starts as soon as the fight starts. I think he has to be a little bit more cleanup for this one. We'll have to see during our next Drake. It is going to be a Mountain Drake, which is much better here for POP than it is for Viridius Arcus.
Yeah, the problem here is, Iron, if we go for the post cleanup, they don't really have any damage to work with.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, that's why it's gonna be real hard. So yeah, if Apollo right now doesn't even have the items to deal with it, this is just gonna be easy for Ipsilos to take the Drake, and now might be going for a chance. They don't have vision on this side of the map. A 5v5 is probably gonna be opening up on their side, but I think Viridis Arcus doesn't want that, because if they go for it, they're just gonna lose on the damage department.
Yeah, straight up 5v5 is in favor of Ipsilos here. And I think this is one of the reasons I was going to say it during the draft and how the Gnar, the reason earlier, right, when the Gnar got picked, I was like, I don't
It's
really.
hard.
It's hard to make Gnar work. I mean, there is some presence but it needs like particular matchups
Mhm.
to really get going here. I think if Defile had played, I think Renekton was banned, right? Was Renekton
Yep.
banned?
Yeah.
And then Camille was also banned. Could have gone for Jace. Even Irelia, I think, would have been nice just to make it a skill matchup between Winter and Defile. And
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of CC anyway from Eternal and Apollo. And I think the extra carry potential from Defile on Irelia would have been really nice.
Yeah, just because they picked Apollo, I mean Ash, they picked it first. So they know that they're going for a lot of CC and not much of a damage. But in the late game, they're losing on the damage department just because of their team composition. They're not really making it work just because they haven't had the snowball on their side. So now Ipsilos is slowly going on their chance for a really power play, almost going in for the power spike, especially if Rubiker gets this second item. Man, it's gonna be a lot more hard for them to win.
Yeah, it's just a little bit difficult as well. Like I said, this is a comp that wants to win 20 to 25.
Yeah.
They've already been set back, which means they're really nearing their deadline here for DLSU to try and get like a really game-winning team fight. And I think Ipsilos just has to play it slower. They have the timer on their side here. They have the Jinx. They have the Gwen here. I think Jinx is the biggest factor here. 2-0-6, surviving thanks to Sinton and Wupf. So they just need to keep on going slowly. Let DLSU try and tire themselves out.
Oh man, if they would be doing that, DLSU would just really need to find ways. Because if is this going, oh no, that enchanted crystal arrow wasn't able to hit, that could have been a kill under the turret. If that was a chance for DLSU, they should have jumped for it. But Ipsilos now are just playing in their favor. They're dictating the face of the game. They're slowing it down. And Viridis Arcus, they're playing by the hands of PUP.
They can try and force things. I think DLSU. Okay, no, they can't. They can force things. They have to force things.
Yes.
That's the thing here.
Yeah. Because if they don't, man, it's just as we said a lot of times, they have better damage, they have better staying potential on the fights and the late game. So now, Viridis Arcus needs to find a chance to at least get a shutdown against Ipsilos. Because if they don't, at least get Rubiker. He has a lot of shutdown gold. That could be good for the team.
Doesn't even have to be Rubiker. Because if it's Rubiker, you know that Sinted and Whips are having their eyes on that.
Yeah.
I think they can maybe go for Rian, go for I Prefer Winter here at that point. But Sinted is just all around the map here.
Oh man, he's just really playing it out. And now with this, they're putting a lot of map pressure. Losing a lot of towers is not good for the side of Viridis Arcus. Because the next objective, yeah, it's really hard.
Man, they don't even have the confidence to pull the trigger onto Sinted even though he was alone. Yes, they didn't, and that's because they don't really have too much of vision here. They do have that vision on the Raptor side of PUP, but nothing else. So they weren't quite sure where Rian might be, and even then, they might not be confident in a 3v2 with Rian and Sinted. Because of course, Sinta's gonna shield him up. Rian's gonna heal himself with a Gourd Drinker and his natural ability to heal himself in his kit. So oh man, they're really missing a lot of opportunities here on the side of DLSU. And like I said, the closer we get to 25 minutes, the closer the deadline is for this Viridis Arca squad.
I think I can see the silver lining here, Hyron, because
Yeah.
at least it's a Mountain Drake. It's not that effective on there. If this was Infernal, it could have been really bad. But now, they might be going for Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but again, it didn't hit. And this is a chance for PUP to fight back. They're just waiting for Rian to go in, and now he goes in, and here comes the ultimate. He's really fighting it out, but the backline, Izumi's going in, but the stopwatch happened, and now it's going really good for their side and backline. Look at that. It's so much damage coming from Winter. He's just cleaning up on the backline, and nobody is even there to fight it out. And that sentence, man, that's gonna be real hard. Defani's gonna go out, but the play was there to cancel him out. Andar, a really big one, and Izumi gets a shutdown on one, but he's the last one standing, and they only were able to get one, and that is for in trade of a Rubiker on their team. So now Ipsilos got a 4-for-1 during that fight.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. That first death sentence, I think, was really, really big there. Like, able to get... Okay, we were already past that. But with it coming in, Izumi comes in. You can focus on the right map, but it's not really relevant here. The biggest thing here is that Whip was able to peel and defend Rubiker as much as possible there. And by the no matter how well that right side of the fight would have been going for DLSU, which, by the way, got cut short because Rubiker got an execute with the Super Mega Death Rocket. By the time Izumi could not get an assassination on Rubiker, that team fight was already over. Because you look at it, I prefer Winter and Rian have the damage that they need to face off against Defile Eternal and Apollo.
And man, they really tried their best on Izumi just went in for Rubiker during that fight. And as we said, Sainted is always there to support if ever they go in for that. And with that, if they focus their firepower onto Rubiker, it's Rian and Winter just going into the back line. And Apollo can even deal the damage that he needs during the fight. I mean, at this point, the only damage that they can deal is Izumi and Apollo, and they can't even do that. Just because Rian and Winter are just up there, having 2 items just helps them stay more in the fight.
Even with Eternal with his Gourd Drinker, it's gonna fall off really hard very soon. The 2 Mountain Drakes on Ipsilos, we talked about the Drakes earlier and how Infernal would be better for Viridis Arcus, and Mountain would be better for Ipsilos. And since it became Mountain, Ipsilos can just leverage this hard. They have 2 stacks of it, which means that it's gonna be even harder for DLSU to get their damage in because it's just gonna get resisted. Even without a lot of investment, it's still a percentage increase to your bases, to your base resistances. So with the plated steel caps on there, it's going to be quite a lot of resistances as well. So DLSU is going to be just in a very, very tough spot right now with their win condition. They weren't able to fulfill it because the win condition here had to be fulfilled like by minute 15, minute 20, where Izumi has like 6-5 kills under his belt and they can keep going for these dives with Eternal and Defile. It just never happened, and I'm not seeing a lot of really good Enchanted Crystal Arrows here from Apollo. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, and they're way past their deadline, as we said, 20 to 25 minutes, and now it's done. They're really trying their best to keep the gold gap really small. But would that be enough? I think at this point, it's not that relevant anymore just because they have a lot of items on the side of Ipsilos, and they can't even pick up the right targets just because right now it fell down. And even though
they're gonna try
Rian
here.
might be the target, he's trying to get the lockdown onto him. Rian is the target, but he's really staying for so long during the fight, and nobody could even able to kill him. Whip is now the target, would be able to get one. At least now it's a 5v4.
Okay.
Possible for them to win, but still, Rian is dealing so much damage. He's still sustaining so much. I was not expecting it to be that long, but a 1-for-1 still good for the side of Ipsilos.
1-for-1 there, but I think DLSU had to use more resources there overall. They had to spend more time getting in there, and Wolf had to like sacrifice himself. He had to actively get in with a death sentence for him to get killed by DLSU. And like I said, even with the 4K gold, okay, small replay coming in, yeah, Izumi can't really get his damage in despite Rian getting caught out, and Whiff just goes in, sacrifices his life. That Cataclysm could have been close, but there was no immediate follow up. Not that anyone from this comp right now could follow up at that point. Even with I think Cataclysm would have been fine if Izumi was the one, or no, if Defile was the one to like back it up, but it was already away at that point, so it's not really in a good position here. Despite the 5k gold lead, it is actually bigger than it seems. The Mountain Drake have really good value here against DLSU, and DLSU has less value per gold than PUP because Rubik or every piece of gold is much more valuable on a hypercarry like Jinx. Meanwhile, on Apollo, it's not really as valuable. On Izumi, the value really depreciates after 20 minutes on this assassin, especially since he wasn't able to snowball after 2 kills. So this is more like a 7 or 8k gold lead here for PUP in terms of value.
Yeah. And now, Hyron, I haven't seen the basic combo that I was expecting from the composition from Veritas Arc, because I was expecting a Cataclysm to the Gnar since a while ago, and still hasn't happened just because they can't pull the trigger against the side of Ipsilos. But now they're waiting for it. They're dancing, waiting for the Mega Gnar to happen before they go in for the trigger. So now Defile has the Mega Gnar, might be a chance for them to fight back, but Ipsilos knows
They're gonna
what
wait
to
it
do.
out.
They're gonna wait it out. They backed away. They know that the combo could happen, and if Defile goes into to the Mininar, oh no, they can't fight. Viridius Arcus might be backing away
Are
from.
they gonna stay here? Their top lane, okay. Their top the push isn't slow on either top or mid for them to worry about too much. But I think they have to back
Oh
off
no!
from this.
Oh, the Death Sentence was brave, was able to get the jungler, and now Eternal is gonna use the Cataclysm, but not enough to actually get anything. Look at that, Winter is on the face of everyone, and nobody was able to answer back, and he's sustaining so much, even though that not so much space bought by Eternal, it was not enough. Izumi is here, but Exhaust is there to cancel him out, and most likely gonna be an ace for Ipsilos, and that's 5 kills with no one falling down for the side of Ipsilos, and that might be game, because they're gonna be running for the base.
Yeah, 30 seconds on the clock there for the most part. Look at that death sentence. That gives them, that like tugs at their sleeve at the last moment, gets the Jarvan, that sets up. And this is such a good choke point for the Rockets and for the Gwen. I do think they're going for the game and immediately here. 25 seconds on Apollo. Can they try? No, it's not gonna happen. It's
most
not
likely
gonna happen here.
gonna be ending the game. Hiron, that was almost a good try for DLSU, because Eternal was able to show out everyone from the fight, but Winter just dealt so much damage, and he was sustaining even in front of everyone. I wasn't expecting so much from that sustain from the Gwen, but he was able to make it work, and now that is a win from Ipsilos. That was so
Game 1.
decisive for them.
Yeah, they knew what the win condition was for DLSU Viridius Arcus. A good team is not only able to play to their own win conditions, but try and deny that from the enemy. And Ipsilos played that perfectly. They knew, okay, he got a kill. He got the kill. Izumi got the second kill. He's gonna look for a third one to start snowballing. So let's gather mid, kill him there, and then break open his mid lane so he has less room to move. That was, I think, where it started being heavily in POP's favor. And I think a big part of that was the Thresh whip, right?
Yeah.
His name is very unassuming. His summoner name is very unassuming, but I think he is a big factor there in keeping Rubiker alive. We saw how his exhausts were on point to prevent as much damage as possible whenever Izumi comes in. He has those really nice max range death sentences as well. And of course, Sinted. Oh man, Sinted is just so good and keeping his team alive and just holding the front with his shields.
And I think, man, he didn't whiff as much as his name says, and that's what I love about Ipsilos' composition during that time. So I think they should ban out whiff if ever they want to go for the next game, because that Thresh was so effective in the bot lane. And man, it's Sinted. They need to ban out the Karma also, just because of that. Viridius Arcus wasn't able to make their composition work. They are just out sustaining them fight for fight. And I don't know, man. It's just Izumi wasn't able to make that Zed as effective as it is.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about how they make that Zed work. I like the Ashe. I would have really liked the Ashe pickup. I have a little bit of a bias. On the side of PUP and DLSU, we talked about the draft. I said, okay, Karma Thresh makes me lean towards PUP. DLSU, it was the Ash that really made me okay. That made me caught my eye. Right, that's what caught my eye along with the Zed. But they couldn't make the Zed work. There weren't a lot of enchanted crystal arrows that were hitting. The Gnar Cataclysm combo wasn't happening, so it was just like they have nothing in their hand for in that game. It's like they had a 3 and they had a 4 in their hand. No pairs, no 3 of a kind, no royal flush, no nothing. It's just a bunch of duds in their hand for that game 1. But they can redeem themselves for game 2 in this best of 3.
Yeah, but that early game for Viridis Arcus, it looked really pretty. Because they were able to secure the Drakes early on. They were able to get the kills on Scene. But as you said, the deadline happened and they weren't able to pass their assignments. And they were punished because of it. And now, right now, at least Viridis Arcus could take note of what happened there. They need to get those team compositions in their favor. They should be, as you said, they need a composition that is a royal flush rather than rather than duds, or at least a lot of different cards just lying around there. If they want to go for late game, they need to go for late game. If they want to go for early game, make them all late game. I mean, early game characters.
Mm-hmm. And once again, execution is also key because I think that comp was, even if the comp was just okay instead of really good for me, I think they could have executed it a lot better. I think the Zed was fine, even though I didn't like the Zed as much as I liked the Jinx. But I think the Enchanted Crystal Arrow was like, that's the key. That's like your key open into these team fights, and it's not hitting.
Yeah, and if ever the Enchanted Crystal Arrow wouldn't be able to hit, man, that's really sad. For that was at least 3 Crystal Arrows that was supposed to open up fights, but they weren't able to, and that's why they weren't able to capitalize much on the Ash pick, and that's why they got punished. I wish they would able to change it up and regroup on this next game.
But this is such an important semi quarterfinals here for Viridis Arcus, because in the previous season of NCO, they were in the shadow. They were like playing in the shadow of Asian Baby Boys, was ironically a younger team with players that they used to have. Yeah. So now Viridis Arcus is such an important, not just a quarterfinals, but a season for them, because they want to face off against Asian Baby Boys. They want to be proving themselves as the premier DLSU collegiate esports org. So they have to bring it home here in this game 1 and turn momentum on their side in this game 2 here, because this is too big to pass up.
Yeah, if Ipsilos would be able to win this, I mean, the momentum is on the side of Ipsilos, but now it's a best of 3. It's possible for them to fight back, but there's still a lot of picks that are getting banned. There are those pocket picks getting banned on the side of Ipsilos, and that could prove really effective on the side of Ipsilos, because at least they know that Viridis Arcus would have a hard time against them.
So Thresh is gonna get banned out here against Viridis Arcus here. So Ipsilos is on the red side. They know that Thresh could be something of a priority, banning out Gwen here. They are leaving open here. Okay, no, the Thresh is banned here, which means that Ipsilos has other things on their mind for when they're on red side.
Yeah, Gwen getting banned is really interesting for me, because if they ban the Gwen, they have more options in the top lane. Renekton is open. If ever they go for a mid Renekton or a top Renekton, and Xin Zhao, that just leaves so little options on the jungle. Yes, Trundle is open. Viego is open if ever they want to, and that could also be good for Spix though.
Yeah, but the question is, does Viridis Arcus play those champions right here? Because that's also something that we need to keep in mind, right? Like they did have they weren't able to get it. Okay, yeah, go first. Like, okay, I think is okay here for Viridis Arcus on this side. And then Ipsilos can swing this back on the red side with their 2 picks here. With the Gwen banned, there's a lot of still other very good top laners open here that can really brawl it out. Irelia, I want to see an Irelia. Come on, give me an Irelia. Give me an Irelia right now.
I mean, man, it wouldn't be bad if they have the Irelia on their picks, because even though they're going to go
Trundle,
for first,
okay, that's acceptable.
Yeah, that's good. Trundle getting picked against a Viego would be really good, especially with the slows. But now, Yeah, as you said, an Irelia would be good in the mid lane, especially that there's not a lot of mages that could counteract against an Irelia, and Irelia is really, really strong on this patch.
Yeah, they're just dispatched. I think Rally is just strong in
Yeah.
general. Um, but looking at this here, Camille, it was banned out earlier, which means that Ipsilas has the strong top laner that they need. Banning out the Gwen leaves the Camille open. Does Viridis Arcus have an answer to that Camille? Is it gonna be the Aatrox that answers the Camille here? Um, I think Aatrox loses more against Camille rather than Camille loses to Aatrox.
Whew, if they go for a Darius here, I think we talked about this a while back. Darius getting picked is just you need to get the advantage in lane.
Mhm.
If you
It's
don't
one
get it,
note.
you lose. You basically
Darius
lose value.
is the most one note top laner that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And by one note, I mean that if like Dash said, if you don't win your lane, your entire team loses because you're down one champion for the rest of the game. It's a 4v5 if the Darius doesn't get ahead in lane. So it's really gonna be up to Defile and Eternal to keep this lane going. And I do think Diego Darius with the upper hand, they have a little bit of a potential to take down I prefer Winter on the Camille here, as long as they block the hook shot escape or at least catch them while Winter is already already committed with the hook shot. But otherwise, it's gonna be a little bit hard here. I do like the Yazul pick up here, and actually, no, I was gonna say I do like the Camille here. I already said that the Ezreal here is gonna depend on how the rest of their mid lane and their support gets picked up. Karma being banned away from
Ooh,
Viridis Arcus.
interesting.
They're the ones banning out the ones that they were using
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah,
Like
they
Xin Zhao, the Xin Zhao, Karma, and the Thresh are locked out here. So they're really testing the champion pools here of Viridis Arcus.
yeah, and if ever Viridis Arcus would be able to get those, that could be really hard for Ipsilas. That's why they don't want to deal with it. I think
Mhm.
that's why they picked it a while ago, Hiron, is because they don't want to deal with it. That's why they picked it against the members of Viridis Arcus. But now,
Now that I'm
look,
this red
looking
side here. Mhm.
yeah, looking at the bans right now, it's really interesting to see getting the Braum ban. There's a lot of exchanges for a support there, but with a Lulu already on the bot lane, and knowing that Azrael is the ADC, I think they can go for an Aphelios if ever they want to.
That is possible. Ipsilas could leverage that, and Aphelios would be really good here. Very versatile. They that means they would be lacking a bit in like hard team fight engage here. Because
Mhm.
even though Hexic Ultimatum is good at picking off targets and starting out a fight, it's not really as effective as it would be. Okay, could go for like Hexic Ultimatum into Wild Growth, but that's really committing the Wild Growth onto the Camille as well, which isn't really ideal. You want it on your Tristana. Tristana's gonna get picked up here as well here. Hypercarry with a Lulu could be good. If Viridis Arcus is like banning out supports, it means that they're expecting this Lulu to be like a mid lane replacement for a Karma. The MF, I think, I did not expect.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't expecting the MF getting picked, but it's good against an Ezreal, so that could be good for Ipsilos. But one thing that could actually rat this whole team up on the side of Ipsilos is possibly a Galio, if ever
Mhm.
Viridis Arcus wouldn't be picking it up.
Yeah, I mean, Misfortune is kind of vulnerable here,
Yeah,
right? You have to stay still for
as
the
I
bullet
said.
time. There's not as much. The Rubiker doesn't have as much like shots, waves from the like 11.18. Is it? I don't think it's live yet right here. So
Yep.
it's not going to be that. It has to just be. And I don't think the Lulu, the
Oh,
misfortune is what you expect when a Lulu gets
what?
picked up here. It's gonna be a TF with the Bard, so they're trying to go for a lot of cross map here with a TF
Mm,
Destiny with a Bard,
possibly a
with a
Galio,
Bard,
yeah.
yeah, with a Bard ulti as well. The Galio could be picked up here as a support
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
If they
man.
go for the Galio here, that would be good. They have a lot of potential for cross map plays. Also on the side of Ipsilos, they just picked it up just because they want to react
So
on that Twisted Fate pick.
so Viridis Arcus was expecting this Lulu to really be mid lane and Ipsilas just kind of bamboozled them.
Right, that's why they picked the Bard, right? That's why
Yeah.
they went in for that. Okay, this is hard. This is the bamboozle from Ipsilos, and now I think Ipsilos has a well-rounded team comp. They have
Yeah.
damage, they have CC, just with the Galio, and now Viridis Arcus. I think just because of the
So
Darius, I
weird.
think I'm not liking their
The
composition.
Darius makes me not like the whole comp.
Yeah,
It's absurd how much this Darius ruins this comp. It's really gonna be up to Eternal and Defile working together. Izumi to get that level 6, enable this Darius. That's how they make this Darius work. So that means there's a lot of hoops that they have to go through. First, Eternal has to be the one controlling the pace of the jungle versus jungle in order to get the gank onto Defile. And Izumi has to have priority to make Destiny in top lane worth it, which means Sinted can probably go for Sinted can follow him with the hero's entrance. So it's not really an issue here for I prefer Winter if Defile gets Izumi support here.
yeah, and as you were saying, man, it's I don't know. It's just if ever the reaction play comes into the side of Ipsilos, or
Mm.
if ever they pull the trigger first, it's gonna be in their favor just because of how much the Galio has much value rather than I mean the Twisted Fate Ultimate is good, yes, for single target, but with the composition that Viridis Arcus has, they have a lot of players that are really on your face. And
Mm-hmm.
that is where Galio really shines.
And Viridis Arcus here, they don't have a lot of ways to, like, you want this MF, start off the team fight. In comes I prefer Winter, follow it up with a hero's entrance. With because they have the Galio, it frees up the wild growth onto either Rubiker if he's in trouble, or onto Winter again after he goes in and needs a little bit of help. But Rubiker here, there's not a lot of threat against him. The file
Yeah,
will have to flash apprehend Rubiker, or
Eternal, I
Eternal
think.
has to go in with a stun. Izumi has to risk himself to get the gold card in. Ventus, it's gonna be very hard for Ventus to find a second target to chain the stun onto Rubiker. So a lot of times here, I was at first I was like, okay, this MF's kind of weird, but then I'm like, okay, there's nothing to check the MF.
Yeah, there's no one jumping on the back line. If ever if an Akali was picked, that could be good. But they didn't pick that up. And now it's just Viridis Arcus. I wish they
Mhm.
would be able to use this in their favor. If Defile gets the advantage in the top lane, that could be good. Or if I
That's a
mean
big if.
yeah, if yeah, but I prefer Winter could always find a way to get the items he needed. And if it goes to the mid game to the late game, I think Camille has more value, even though
Mhm.
that Defile gets the advantage early in the game.
Especially with a comp like this with a Galio and the Trundle, it's so hard to make this to have the Darius catch up. So I do think that Ipsilos has the clear advantage here in terms of the draft, but Viridis Arcus has a lot of potential to play this out if they can have a good Destiny play with the Tempered Fate here. It
Yep.
could be very good. Maybe freeze the tower to go for a dive. Um, that's a big thing that they can go for. They can go support the Darius as well, make the Bard roam, allow the Bard to roam, and go for a 4v4 top, 4v3, 4v4 top set, because I'm pretty sure Ipsilos' support whiff is also going to be roaming as
Yeah.
well. So it's going to be tough here for Vidas Arcus, but they need to win this to get this to even out this best of three.
Yeah, what I like about Viridis Arcus is the Viego pick. There's a lot of skills going into the side of Ipsilos, and if ever during the fight they would be able to pick up one, that could be a chance for the Viego
Mhm.
to snowball during the fight. And if, that's another big if on the side of Viridis Arcus. It just really is banking on the fact that they would be able to get a pickup, and that could be they could leverage that against Ipsilos.
Yeah, I think the combo here is the Viego, Eternal and Defile is the combo here.
Yep.
Get even if the Viego doesn't get the execute, if the Darius can get the execute, uh, then Viego can go for a steal there. Can yoink the form, reset his ulti. Doesn't even need to use the spells from the copied champion. Just needs to reset that ulti and then and then the Noxian Guillotine gets reset as well. So you have two champions that can really pop off from a reset in a team fight. So I think
Yep.
that's the key here for Defile and Eternal to work together.
Yeah, they just really need if they want that to happen, Hiron, that that could pose another potential problem. But As long as they would be able to leverage that, they would allocate a lot of resources onto Defile
Mhm.
and use that in their favor during the team fights. That could be good. But they leave the bot lane really vulnerable.
Yeah, maybe
Rubiger
that's
having
why. Yeah.
yeah, leaving Rubiger against Apollo on the bot lane. I think Misfortune has the better advantage in the
Yeah.
lane.
Maybe that's why they picked up the Ezreal, not just so they can have a pretty good lane with the Bard, but just so that if
Self-sustain.
Ventus has to go to top side to make a play for Defile, Apollo should be generally safe against a Lulu MF lane or MF Ezreal solo lane here if ever Whip also goes for the roam.
Oh yeah, that's what they want to happen here. But now, both of our junglers are on the red side of the map, and most likely they aren't gonna meet each other.
Mhm.
Probably gonna go for a full clear, just because they really need to get that early advantage or early items on their side, so they don't really need to gank that much. But Eternal, the pressure is on you. You need to get the advantage onto the file if you want to win against Winter, because Winter, if it gets into the late game, most likely gonna be hard to deal with.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it is a Camille. Once the Sheen is going to be the big thing here for
Yeah.
I prefer Winter. Once he gets the Sheen, it's going to be harder for Defile to really start getting the lead in these trades, especially since I prefer Winter probably doesn't want to go for long trades, right? He wants
Yep.
to get a tactical sweep to get the slow, and he wants to get a precision
Oh,
protocol
they're
here.
fighting in the
He
top
doesn't
lane.
really want to go for all ins because that
Oh.
allows Defile to go for the stacks of the Hemorrhage here, and this is actually not in Winter's favor.
Yeah, they went in for that fight on the top lane, and that might be potentially bad for Winter. Now,
That's
I think
good.
Defile
Yeah.
has the advantage on the top side, forcing the back on Winter, and most likely gonna force the teleport. Now Defile has the advantage, and he could use that in his favor.
Yeah, he could definitely leverage that. I was gonna say, okay, tactical sweep precision protocol disengage.
Yeah,
But he went for a fight.
yeah.
He went for a
full
fight.
fight.
I think he believed too much in his own minion's damage there. And now he has to use his teleport to be one level behind since Defile will have level 3. This is DLSU's opening. This is the opening that they need to set up this Darius and this Viego. And with Eternal already finishing up his top half of the map for his jungle, there is a definite chance here that Winter, if he pushes up, if he pulls up, if he's gonna pull up on Defile, he's gonna get punished hard. I think he knows that.
Yeah, he knows that he's gonna get punished hard, and now look at that. Just with that, the advantage is just snowballing on the side of Defile, and now it's not looking good for Winter. So, Eternal just needs to go for a gank. He went in for that apprehend, and it's just really pushing Winter out the back of his seat and wants to get that fight. But if they just go for here, Eternal might go for a really, really cheeky gank on the top lane, and if they go for it, that might pose a really big
Gonna
threat
dive
against
this?
Winter.
It's a
there.
pretty risky dive here.
Yep.
If they're gonna go for it, but it's gonna be a tough call. I think, yeah, the fact that they already saw Eternal at that point, going for it is gonna get sussed out by the Scrying Orb. Because I think he's gonna have to get out a little bit of damage on
Oh,
fire
no.
for Winter.
Yeah.
Just the Vape Nash here coming from Eternal, but he's gonna be able to get out.
Yeah, I think that's good for Winter because at least he pushes back Eternal, loses some time when it comes to that, and now bot lane might be the target for Ipsilos, but yeah, they're really wanting for them to just get the advantage on lane. Just push back Winter, just let Defile snowball onto the top lane.
We're still going for it.
Yeah, but
Okay,
pushing
okay,
back
that's-
the lane
that's-
is just good for Winter because he has a chance to just clear out this wave.
Oh man, that's a lane losing mistake right there.
Yeah.
That mistake to continue on with the trade lost that lane for the next like 5 minutes here for for Winter. The fact that he's losing all that priority means that it also affects his jungler.
Oh no!
Because,
Looking at
oh
the
no,
TP
it's
in
a
the top lane,
3-man.
comes in with the apprehend, but they aren't gonna continue because they know the TP came in. There comes the gold card.
Oh.
Izumi is now low in HP and could be a chance to fight back on the side of TUP, but they aren't gonna fight it out. And I think that's good on the side of DLSU because they know if they went for it, they're gonna lose on a lot.
Uh-huh. This is actually great. This relieves a little bit of pressure from Winter. This does mean that Izumi will have the okay, no, they're TF versus Galio. It's just gonna be one following up against the other,
Yeah.
or one going onto the other side to leverage that. This is a little bit of breathing room for Winter. Lets him recover this lane. This lane is still very, very tough. Looking at the items, already one component completed for Defile. And meanwhile, Winter is still catching up at this point, but he's going to have to walk his way back to keep his teleport available. But overall, What Winter is losing topside, Rian is just gaining back with the clear speed of the Trundle compared to the
Yeah.
Viego.
Yeah, it's really fast when it comes to the clear speed, and I kind of like that, having the Trundle on your lane. But now, with that, they could use that to at least get this Drake. I mean, this Drake is not that big on the side of PvP, but I think that could be good to at least lessen the cooldown for the hero's entrance, which could be really big on the team fight.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Oh,
it's going to be more trading here. He does
oh,
have the level
top
6.
lane though. They have the stun coming into their side, but hookshot is there to at least help them out. The
it's
flash
going.
comes in, the gold card is here, but they don't have much sticking power onto their side. But the flash happened, and that is the Hexagon ultimatum. Most likely, Eternal would be able to get away, and that's the first blood. Good call for Veridis Arcus.
Yeah, Cloud for 1 kill. I think that's definitely worth it for DLSU. It's just more of an investment here for PUP. They're losing Winter even more topside. They're letting Defile and Eternal get those kills in exchange for an investment later into the game. So as of now, I think that's it's not too worth right now. But if they can survive against Eternal and Defile, if they can try and leverage this in their advantage. But I prefer Winter. It's just a dead lane right now. It's dead lane.
Yeah, I think I prefer Winter wouldn't have a chance to fight back. They went in for that composition where they need to win against I prefer Winter, and that's good. They could use that in their favor. The TP is coming in. Defile has
yeah.
the flash though. They can use that. The apprehend comes in, but Rian was able to back away with that. And now Ipsilos could get that info. They now know that the flash on top lane is out, and they could use that in the... At least I prefer Winter was able to get some waves just because of that TP.
Okay, every time that Defile wants to go for something, okay, he loses the flash, he loses the TP. That means Winter is gonna be able to go back. The lane, it's like Defile went roamed mid lane, which ironically gave Winter like a small spark, a small zap on the defib on this lane, and this actually the lane is alive again.
Yeah.
The lane is like just barely alive because that it went from like 30 to 60 to 60 to 40, which is a much smaller gap. And here I prefer Winter. He has 1 level up. Oh man, Defile counter through that lane. I prefer Winter through that lane level 1 and Defile through that by roaming mid. I think he really should just stay here. Should have just stayed here to really continue bullying. I prefer Winter, but now the lane is actually at this point alive with a difference of a 500 gold. That's like a long sword and a half.
Ventus is here though.
Mhm.
Oh, they might go for a fight, but they don't have
Are
any
they?
vision on that side of the map. So they are gonna cancel it, but their health is on the eyes of Rion, and this probably is gonna go on the side of Ipsilos, because right now I think DLSU doesn't want to go for the fight because they are really losing on the damage department at this point. They really want Diego to at least get an item first before they go for that objective.
Yeah, and they can't really risk Sinta just going in there as well. They do have, like I said, it's a 4v4. It would be a 4v4, and I think at this phase of the game, would I prefer Winter getting back some in his hands here? I think it should be fine here for POP to go for if that fight in Reptile happened. I think they would have been able to fight it out just from the Sheen damage here. Even if it's not on Defile, if they can go on to Eternal or Izumi, that would have been great for them. But the game is slowing down a little bit, which I think is much better for POP than it is for TLSU. Next Drake is going to come up.
Yeah, the more that they slow it down, they don't really have much damage into the late game. I mean, Diego deals damage, but at the late game, I prefer Winter could just smother them down, coupled with Rubiker getting the items also. So they have more staying power during the fights, and with the objectives coming up in 2 minutes, it'll be a chance for Ipsilos to go for it. And now that the Sheen is Ipsilos now has I prefer Winter with the Sheen, as you said, this could go bad for Defile in top lane.
Especially now that the gap is, it went from 30 to 60 to 40 to 60, and now it's 80 to 60 here at that point. It's actually all the way back. Oh, cancels it out.
Oh, they're gonna go for the top side. 4 members are here, but I prefer Winter would be the target. The Ignite is sticking, but no sticking power on the side of DLSU, and they aren't. They lose a lot of resources during that fight, and the Drake is gonna happen in a minute, and this could punish out DLSU.
They really tried their best there to go for a 4v2. Even though they don't get the kill, they could potentially get some... Okay, no. It's gonna be Sinton here along with I Prefer Winter. Gonna go for a 3v4.
TP comes in, and this is gonna be the fight, and the target is gonna be Defile. He's low in HP, he's gonna fall down, and now the taunt is gonna be big! And now DLSU is going down one by one. The last one standing, Eternal, would not be eternally alive, and he fell down to his death, and that is a 4-4-0. What was that? Ipsilos turns it around.
Okay, here's what happened in that top lane, okay? Yeah, here they get caught out. Okay, this is just a clean massacre at that point because they lost too much HP, which means Izumi can't front as much, which means it's just the taunt, the flash into the taunt there is really big. But essentially, to give you the gist of that top lane, I Prefer Winter killed his own lane, but Defile didn't go for a double tap. He kind of went for a roam mid lane, which meant I Prefer Winter had a pulse, right? He had a pulse.
Yeah.
And then with that top lane response from PUP, that was the whole clear. There was like clear and then go for the defibrillator to zap his chest, and then the lane suddenly is alive now. The lane is alive and thriving. That's what happened at the top lane.
Yeah, man, that's
so
not what you want to happen. You don't want to keep I Prefer Winter alive. It was supposed to be dead, but with that, Defile just gave him much of an advantage. Now with another kill, that almost solidifies the lane. Look at this, the wave is going into the side of Winter, and he could just get more resources into his side, and the damage could potentially be better on this Mountain Drake that's gonna come up. Even though that they don't have the TP, they don't even need I Prefer Winter on that. They could just make use of the bullet time on the side of Rubiker, and they could potentially win the fight there.
Actually, I forgot that Rubiker and Apollo were in this game.
Yeah.
Since most of the action was going in the top half of the map, Rubiker and Apollo, I think both of them are a little bit are quite satisfied with just leaving this lane and like a farm lane with a peace treaty in the bot lane, where all the action happens everywhere else here. And coming up with this Drake, it is gonna be a Mountain Drake happening for this. So it's gonna take a little while, which means there's a big chance that this could get disrupted. The teleport, or rather, the teleport is down for I Prefer Winter, so he's going for a preemptive recall after trying to push in that wave a little bit slowly, which means he's gonna be able to walk all the way down onto the Drake itself.
Yeah, this is why I love a misfortune in the bot lane. It's just, you're just gonna poke out your lane, especially that is an Ezreal. You can fight against the poke damage of an Ezreal just because of that Q, and that could be really helpful for the lane. Now, with a 30 gold advantage, not that really big for the side of Ipsilos, and might be a chance for them when the ultimate comes in, and this is the teleport, and that is gonna be the Rubiker, gonna be the target. The cleanse is really perfect. That was good, and now it's a chance for Ipsilos to fight back. Here comes the pullback. The hero's entrance is there to help them out. 4v5, really great advantage for Ipsilos, but a lot of members are low on HP, and they might be able to take this Mountain Drake without any contest. But would Viridis Arcus go for a contest here? They could go, but I think it's not going to be good for their side. That was good on the side of Ipsilos. They were able to secure it. They were able to get one kill, and now another advantage in their favor.
Another advantage coming in there as well. If we take a look at what happened there, that was very close. Rubiker had a very nice timing on the cleanse. The bullet time, I think, was a little bit panicked, so he couldn't get the really good bullet time. But here, they give chase. They know that if he can get one big taunt there with the Idol of Duran from Saints, that would have been the team fight. But they were satisfied with picking up Defile. They prevent him from going for a reset, from getting resets in that team fight by killing him early. They pick up the Mountain Drake. The Mountain Drake means that Defile and Eternal will have a much harder time getting resets in a team fight later in the game. And with Infernal Soul, though, Infernal Soul is going to be important for both of these teams to get that damage in, so they can take out, so that PUP can take out Defile and Eternal first, or DLSU can break open and start getting those resets in the team fight for Defile and Eternal. That's really what they're going for with this Infernal Rift so far. Rift Herald is going to come up. DLSU is going to try and take this. I don't think PUP wants to contest this with the kind of terrain that they're not really the type to try and disrupt Baron or try and disrupt Rift Herald here, so they're just going to back off and let DLSU take this, which means Viridis Arcus has a little bit of a chance here to leverage that on the top side.
Yeah, they could go in for the top side push onto the Rift Herald, but bot lane would probably go down before that happens. And that's a first straight gold advantage on the side of Ipsilos, but now I Prefer Winter would be the target, but Eternal wouldn't be able to have the staying power to fight against I Prefer Winter. And most likely, top lane is going to fall down. They have all the members here. They have the Hextech Ultimatum coming in. Eternal would be the target, but there comes the ultimate coming in from the side of Bart. Ventus would be able to save the life of Eternal, but there comes the Wild Growth. Going to be able to fight them out. Defile is the target, going to fall down, and Eternal would be the next one into chopping block. Eternal is going to pull down. Izumi doesn't have much damage, and nobody would be able to answer back. That is almost Centipede getting the taunt, but still, Ipsilos got the advantage again during that fight. Another 2-0 in their favor.
I like how POP is playing this. And if you check out what happened there, they go for Eternal straight up. They try and pin him down. The apprehend there was a little bit too early. I like the preemptive apprehend, but it didn't quite work out here. And look at this. I Prefer Winter knows that he can't front up against that Viego. He knows that the Viego there could get reset with his ulti, though. We'll go for...
Okay, the stun comes in, but Rubiker, that's gonna fall down. Good timing, because they know that Rubiker doesn't have the cleanse during that. But as you were saying, 1-0, small wins for DLSU could actually help them. Yeah, as you said, the defibrillator could actually help them live out against PUP.
Yeah, that pretty much makes the top lane fight a 2-for-2 because Rubiker gave shutdown gold. Okay, maybe 2 for 1.5 still in favor of PUP, especially since they got top lane turret traded back. So this does mean that DLSU feels a little bit comfortable going for the mid lane. Harrowed Path isn't gonna do too much around here since PUP does not want to fight in the Vape niche. The mid lane isn't gonna come through just yet, and this 4K gold lead on PUP, though, like I said, the slower the game goes, the better it is for them. They slowed down the game enough to not give Defile and Eternal any more kills or assists, which means they're in a very good spot right now. Meanwhile, Defile and Eternal, they really have to depend on Izumi and Apollo for them to get those resets. Defile has to be like the front for his team, make sure to stack up those hemorrhages, and then Eternal has to follow up like a cleanup crew. It's like I said, there's a lot of hoops that they need to jump through for this comp to work.
Man, it's really hard just because, as you said, they have a lot of hoops to go through before they make this comp happen. And they don't even have a chance to do that. They don't have a really good front line that could help out Defile stay more during the fights. He isn't even building really tanky Darius, and that's why whenever the fight happens, he could be a potential target, and he's gonna fall down pretty easily against Ipsilos. So now Ipsilos is just gonna use that in their favor, just snowball against Defile. Now Winter has better items against him, and Winter could go 1v1 almost everyone, and that could just more resources. They need more resources before they could push down Winter on that lane.
And they can continue, and with 4-0-3 on this Trundle, this is how the front line is gonna go, right? Defile with a 0-3-1 Triforce, not really tanky because he did go for the Triforce. Will try, and Rian will just eat him up because of that, and Sinted will be able to resist a lot of the bleed on the hemorrhage stacks, which means Defile's gonna have a hard time getting those executes, and without those executes, could
on
get
the top side could be good because Centipede is gonna be the target, but he's a really tanky Galio, man. The aftershock is also there. That's why it's really hard for them to get this. And now with that,
second tier turret though.
There's a lot of things that they burn just for that title. So I think that could be good. But if they get this, the bullet time just deals so much damage, forcing them back away from the top lane. And now PUP could go for the capitalize, and they could just force a fight if they want to.
Okay, yeah, so they really committed second tier turret there in exchange for Drake. Second tier turret is gonna get traded back by I Prefer Winter. He gets a lot more gold in his pocket there.
Oh no, Apollo?
Apollo? I think he's just gonna be able to not even the Arcane Shift, just goes straight for the flash. So I think in the end this is in PUP's favor. Because they trade both second tier turrets on opposite sides of the map, but POP gets Soul, now pressuring Soul Point, threatening Soul Point here against DLSU. And then, because it is top lane that got the second tier turret down, POP is just gonna push that anyway when they're dancing for Baron. And which means bot lane is a much weaker side here for DLSU when it comes to dancing around that Baron.
Yeah, and especially on the soul point, as you said, if they go for the soul point later on after 4 minutes, it could be better for the side of PUP because at least now they have the pressure on the bot lane. So now Izumi needs to get this tower and defile if they want to leverage the advantage on this soul point. So Ipsilos, the pressure is on. I mean, Viridis Argus, the pressure is on their side because if they go for a push here, they might go for a sneaky Baron if that could be on their pockets. But bot lane is gonna fall down.
Yeah, bot lane is gonna fall down. What's PUP gonna trade for this? Mid lane is gonna get opened up. Probably the waves is getting pushed in by DLSU. And this is pretty fast wave clear. I think DLSU is hard committing onto this bot lane. They have 3 members around that side. They're gonna trade back the mid lane turret for that second tier. Might fall down here. So this is DLSU's play to just go for bot lane here where there's none. Okay, teleport gonna come through here. I think from here, which means
the hookshot comes in, Iron, and this might be good. The Hextech ultimatum is going to be here. Defile might fall down really first here, and now the follow-up is coming in now. Ventus could be the next target. He's going to fall down. Izumi is going to follow after. That's a double kill for the ADC. This could be a chance for them to get the Baron if they want to.
I was about to say, isn't this too risky to commit 3 members for onto DLSU side's bot lane here? Because you saw that how deep they had to push up for that second tier, and there's that huge swath of land. Since PUP was already positioned in the mid lane, the rest of the members just had to walk down while they had a teleport come through from behind. I Prefer Winter is able to lock one down. They once again denied Defile from getting any cheeky kills by killing him first, which means Eternal doesn't have a lot of support in the front line to be able to get those resets, to get his ulti out, to get his Heartbreaker out, which means PUP is able to finish off that fight. A nice teleport there come from PUP. Nice response onto the bot lane. They don't even lose their second tier because I Prefer Winter was clearing that.
I like how methodical PUP is playing this. They didn't even risk the Baron, but Rubiker is going to be the target. The stun is not going to come in. Cleanse has been used, and Viridis Arcus could leverage that during the next fight. They could jump in on Rubiker. They had the Wild Growth, yes, but Eternal now has a bit of damage, and that could be a possible win for them if they take out the damage that Rubiker could deal.
They have to be careful, though, because they can't really rely on Defile to soften things up for Eternal. Yes, Eternal can go in, go for a Heartbreaker as well. He has a little bit of damage. He has the Divine Sunderer. But yeah, even with the Wild Growth, let's say the Wild Growth is fine. But you know Sint is not just going to watch his marksman get knocked down here. Eternal is going to be under duress here. He just gives up. He just straight up says adios. As Sint just stands there, gives him a whack, and when the bullet time comes through. And I think that's going to be Baron at that point with jungler down to DLSU. That is a Baron indeed. They don't really have the ways to try and contest this. The poke from Apollo isn't going to be enough here. Izumi could go for a poke. They could get a gold card onto a key target here, but this is going to be very tough. This is a tough call for them because Eternal's going to have to walk up. Nice Tempered Fate to try and delay it as much as possible, but I think it's going to fall down any second now. PUP will probably secure this.
Oh yeah, that was almost a good one, but here comes the taunt on Sinti, the good target. Apollo would be the target, and they have the slow coming in from Winter, but now Defile is going to fall down, going to follow up with this. Apollo would be the target. The hookshot is still up on his side. The Precision Protocol is waiting. Izumi has the gold card in hand, and Eternal is going to go for a fight. That is going to be the target, and now it's going to fall down. Lulu is now falling down. Rubiker could go in for it. Eternal still has the reset, but Rian is here just bodying him out against Rubiker, and now he's going to back away from this fight, and most likely Ipsilos with the Baron empowered champions and the minions would find a way to push on the top side.
If PUP knows that they can't let Eternal get any more than that, and they give him they don't really allow whip, but whip goes down, so Rubiker realized, okay, I can't front against this Viego. I have to back off. I don't want to get Heartbreakered in the face. So they back off, stays in the brush to threaten, allow Rian to try and like push him out because he knows that Eternal cannot fight against Rian.
Playing with fire right here. Not gonna get it, and now the Infernal Soul is on the side of them, and now they have a lot more fire bullet time coming in, and Defile is gonna be falling down again. Now gonna be the next target is just gonna fall down, and PUP Ipsilos is just looking for the next one on the chopping block. They have a lot on their menu. And the taunt comes in, and that is a killing spree onto the Galio, and that is the Zonius Argus to buy some time for him, and he's gonna run away with that, with his limit of HP. Rian gonna be a bit aggressive. Izumi has the gold card in hand, but Winter is here to support him out, and it's gonna be a 2v5. Not gonna be easy for them to defend this with the Baron Empowered Minions without a lot of siege on this side.
Oh man, what a flourish right there. PUP, they knew that they're undoubtedly in the lead here. Like I said, Darius is a one-note champion. Either he's ahead or he's not. Diego, well, is in the same vein as Darius, just a little bit more survivable.
The gold card comes in, the stun comes through, and Whiff would be able to go for that, and teleport also comes in, won't be good, and it's going to be taunting a lot of members, but they are dealing a lot of damage there. Sintied is still alive, and Winter is here trying to get more. Eternal might be the target. He's going to fall down. Rampage onto Winter, and this might be the last stand for DLSU. One also fell down. Rian gets it with the ultimate, and the last one standing. Two people, Apollo and Ventus, just going to try their best to hold this off, but it's just crying on their side, man. The precision protocol hits a lot. The hookshot comes in. He falls down. Sintied is just looking really good. They're really confident, and this is a win for PUP Ipsilos, getting that spot onto the semifinals.
They deny the Viridis Arcus team from getting a match against their brothers and Asian baby boys. That is Viridos Arcus de Lenda S there for Ipsilos, and man, that was a great game. It was kind of a big pega what happened there with Winter. Like he threw the lane, but then Defile threw the lane back, and then at that point it was kind of even. But Ipsilos was able to really leverage that top lane. They knew that now that the lane is even, they can actually go and start bullying Defile. And that's where it started falling apart for Viridis Arcus at that point. And that's really where they started running away with the game. Slow down the game, allow themselves to scale up, make sure that the Viego and the Darius don't get resets over and over, don't snowball, and they pretty much just took over the game from that. I like Ipsilos' style. They choke people out.
Yeah, and I love the way that they methodically do that. When they go for fights, they back away, then they come back if they know that they can fight against them. And that's the playstyle that I've seen. And Ipsilos, man, this team has a lot of promise. Maybe Asian baby boys could need to be afraid of what's coming in their faces, because Ipsilos has a lot of surprises. And I think Asian baby boys would be surprised on the semis coming in for September 25. So now with this, we have the semifinalists right here. Asian baby boys, Ipsilos on the other side. And now we're waiting for the next ones onto the next bracket, right, Iron?
All right, so DLSU and Asian Baby Boys and PUP, they have 2 weeks to prepare, practice, scrim for the semifinals. Because next week, September 18, same time, same channels, we're going to have PLM Exos Haribons and ADMU LG Hydra, both very familiar teams. We're going to have MU from Mapua, Mapua University Mages, or MGS, versus University of San Agustin Sage Code 001. So that's the San Agustin Golden Eagles Code 001 team. All four of these are very familiar organizations. A lot of them, the rosters as well, are very familiar with a few new players here and there. They're going to be playing to see who gets into the semifinal spot on the 25th of September. So there's a lot of esports action happening this month.
Man, a lot of storylines. I'm kind of excited on the next part of the bracket, because on the grand finals, it's going to be real spicy for both of these teams. Because if ever Mapua University gets onto the grand finals, that could be a potential. If ever also Asian Baby Boys gets it, it could be a good revenge match of the last season.
Yeah, but there's so many other possible storylines, right? Like that's one angle you can go from. MU, if they make it past USA, and then past whoever wins against PLP and PLM and ADMU, and then DLSU wins against PUP, then that's the rematch of the Metro Finals. But PUP is such a good team that it's not clear if Asian Baby Boys can beat them. And as for PLM and ADMU, they're very, they're very prestigious alliance organizations, which means that they are very good at polishing up their rosters, man. Even if they don't have if they don't have their star players, let's say one of them graduates or has to leave, then they have what it takes to train up a new roster. And USA, they're a strong team, one of the usual contenders in the Vismin region, from our boys over there at the University of San Agustin. So it's such a competitive quarterfinals, and I'm sure they're going to be giving us a good show.
Yeah, and guys, that has been the first day of the quarterfinals on the NCO National Campus Open League of Legends. And that is more exciting. On next week, we have more coming onto your side. It's going to be real exciting. And the semifinals and the grand finals coming up after that. So that has been us for day one of the National Campus Open. We have been your casters for today. I'm Dash, and I was here with Hyron. See you next week for more campus action here in AcadArena. See you guys.